I didn't cry. That was the weird part. You'd think after getting dumped in front of a crowd of half-drunk uni students, after being told I was a safe choice, not the right one, something in me would break. Or snap. Or at least melt a little. But nah. I just sat there, on that stupid bench outside the rooftop bar, staring at the city skyline, while the neon lights blinked like they were judging me. And now, it's the next morning. Or, technically, 11:52 a.m. I haven't moved from the couch. There's a half-eaten convenience store sandwich on the table. My phone's at 4%. I have 3 missed calls from Yuuto, probably checking if I haven't jumped off a bridge, and 2 texts from my mom asking about my part-time schedule. I haven't replied to any of them. Because really, what would I say? Hey, I just got dumped by the only person I thought would stay, humiliated in front of people I barely know, and now I feel like someone replaced my organs with lead. Yeah, that'll go over great. The apartment is quiet. Too quiet. The kind of silence where you start hearing your own pulse in your ears. The kind that makes you question if you're even in your body anymore. I glance at the ceiling. Why did she say all that? I mutter, voice hoarse from not using it. I wasn't perfect, but I paid for her textbooks when her scholarship fell through. I biked to her place with takeout when she got sick. I listened to her talk about starting her fashion brand, like it was already a reality. So why did it end like that? I reached for my phone out of habit and click. Dead. Figures. I let it drop on the floor and finally stand up, wobbling slightly. My body feels like it's been asleep longer than I have. Everything's sore, like the gravity in my room decided to level up overnight. I walk over to the window, pull open the blinds. Sunlight stabs my eyes like it has a personal vendetta. Outside, the city is alive. Blue Planet's capital, Minato Core, is always awake. Towering glass buildings, mag rail lines humming across the skyline, drones weaving between ad banners. It's a clean, polished place. The kind of city that looks down on people like me. The kind of place where breakups are private. Unless you're me. I turn away, and then I see it. Not outside. In front of me. Floating. A pale blue screen. Translucent. Neon edges. Like a futuristic email made out of light. System activation complete. Welcome, Kaido Ren. Your request for change has been acknowledged. Emotional threshold exceeded. System type, 100-fold return system. Level 1. Daily return cap, 2,000 yen. Current mission, make a meaningful purchase. Reward, 100x monetary return in 24 hours. Bonus trait unlocked. Emotional anchor, passive insight into sincerity. I blink. Once. Twice. Then I sit down very slowly on the floor. Okay, maybe I did break. Maybe this is what happens when your brain finally taps out and just decides to hallucinate. Or maybe, the Blue Planet's weird little urban legends weren't just rumors. I remember the forums. The ones Yuuto used to joke about. People claiming to hear voices, see panels, unlock weird systems that help them gamble, code, even escape debt. They always disappeared eventually. The threads got deleted, marked urban fantasy or cognitive distortion cases. But this feels real. The panel doesn't glitch. It hovers steadily in front of me, as if waiting for my first move. A meaningful purchase. I glance toward my wallet. There's maybe 1,800 yen in there. Enough for coffee. Maybe a cheap bento. The panel doesn't disappear. My hands start to sweat. And somewhere, beneath the numbness, beneath the exhaustion, something stirs. Not hope. Not yet. Just curiosity. I stare at my wallet like it holds the meaning of life. Which today it might. The system's still hovering in front of me. Still glowing. Still waiting. I half expect it to blink away and say, just kidding, like the universe was playing a prank on the emotionally wrecked kid. But it doesn't. Current mission. Make a meaningful purchase. Reward. 100x monetary return in 24 hours. I flip open the wallet. Bills. One crumpled 1,000 yen note. One 500 yen coin. A few yen 100s, and some lint. Total. 1,800 yen. I shove the money in my hoodie pocket, grab my dead phone, and slip on my beat-up sneakers. They've got this little tear near the heel I've been meaning to fix for weeks. Funny what becomes obvious when you're about to go out and spend everything you have on one thing. Door unlocks. Hinge creaks. The hallway outside my apartment is quiet, sterile, lined with beige walls and buzzing lights. Same old corridor. Same old building. Except now I might be hallucinating a UI overlay from some divine budgeting app. 10 minutes later, I'm standing outside a vending machine in front of a corner cafe. The blue planet has better vending machines than Earth, probably. Sleek, solar-powered, and stocked with everything from artisan lattes to protein smoothies. You can even tap them to get personality readings if you care about that sort of thing. I don't. I just want caffeine. I stare at the rows of drinks like I'm choosing between weapons in an RPG. Come on, make it meaningful. My eyes land on a black, kin with gold lettering. Courage blend. Brewed for decisions you'll regret later. I snore under my breath. That's too perfect. I tap my card. Nothing. Right, card's empty. I feed in the 1,800 yen in cash. The machine chirps happily. The can drops with a thunk. Purchase complete. System recognized. Meaningful decision. Processing return. 24 hours remaining. Just like that, the rest of my money is gone. I hold the can in both hands like it might bite me. Cold metal against my fingers. Quiet fizz when I crack the top. It smells like over-roasted beans and overcompensating confidence. I take a sip. Tastes like burnt ambition. I sit on the curb outside the cafe and watch the mag trams blur past overhead, humming along silver tracks. It's still weird to think the city doesn't sleep. Even in the daylight, there's this feeling that everyone's on their way somewhere. People in suits. People in uniforms. Drones flying overhead like lazy birds. And here I am. Broke. Heartbroken. And now system bonded. I glance at the system panel again. It's gone, but not really. Just minimized into this faint blue shimmer in the corner of my vision. Like a game HUD you can't uninstall. My brain starts doing the math. If I really get 100x what I spent, that's 180,000 yen coming to me tomorrow. Which is insane. Absolutely, cosmically, ridiculously insane. And yet, here I am, calculating whether that's enough to pay rent early and buy new shoes. Am I losing it? Was the breakup that bad? I mean, sure, she embarrassed me. She called me predictable in front of half our literature seminar group. Said she wanted someone who shook the world, not someone who read quietly while the world moved on without him. She wanted passion. I gave her stability. So maybe I never had a chance. I take another sip. The can's almost empty now, but the silence, still loud. What do I even do with 180,000 yen? I ask no one. The cafe door behind me jingles. A girl walks out, mid-laugh, holding 2 croissants and a coffee to go. She looks like she belongs in this city. Clean clothes, confident stride, no shadows in her eyes. She doesn't even glance at me. Makes sense. I'm sitting on a sidewalk with a hoodie 2 sizes too big, bags under my eyes, drinking canned courage. But maybe, just maybe, tomorrow I won't be. 24-hour return timer, 23:48 remaining. Next mission available in 6 hours. I wake up to money. Not figuratively. Literally. It's 11:57 a.m., and something heavy smacks the floor next to my futon with a satisfying thunk. I blink blearily, eyes crusted from not enough sleep, and maybe just a little dried grief, and then I see it. A fat, pristine envelope. No sender. No stamps. Just a subtle blue shimmer around the edges, pulsing faintly like it's alive. I sit up slowly, heart pounding like a student opening exam results they already know they failed. The envelope has my name on it. Kaido Ren. No address. No handwriting. Just neat, machine-printed text that feels more like a verdict than a label. I swallow hard, reach for it, and pull the flap open. There's no card. No instructions. Just cash. 180,000 yen, neatly bound in 3 perfect stacks of bills. Crisp. Fresh. Impossible. System return complete. Amount spent, 1,800 yen. Return multiplier, 100x. Funds delivered, 180,000 yen. System level, 1. Daily cap, 2,000 yen. Next cap increase. Complete 2 more missions. New mission available. Help someone without expecting a reward. I blink again, just to make sure my eyeballs are functioning. Still there. Still glowing softly. The cash smells clean. Sharp. Like it came straight from a mint. My hands shake a little as I press my palms against it. It doesn't vanish. Doesn't fade. This isn't some dream layered on top of my depression spiral. This is real. And that realization hits harder than I expect. Because now I know something for sure. My life just changed. 10 minutes later, I'm pacing around my apartment in a daze, bills neatly stacked on the kotatsu, like I'm laundering yen for some sleek futuristic mob. I don't even know what to do first. Call Yuuto? He'd probably think I found some shady loan app. Call my mom? No. She'd just hear the panic in my voice and show up with a priest and a savings account spreadsheet. I glance at the new mission text again. Help someone without expecting a reward. That's vague. What counts as helping someone? Is this a system built by a god or a philosophy major? Do I need to donate blood? Pick up someone's groceries? Mentor a lost soul at the convenience store? I sit back down and sigh, rubbing my eyes. This is fine. I just need to think. 2 hours later, I'm in line at the bank. I've got the cash neatly wrapped in a zippered envelope, tucked inside my satchel. The line moves slowly, filled with elderly folks paying bills and middle-aged workers depositing business cash. The bank is quiet, sterile. Everything smells like disinfectant and press suits. I step up to the counter when it's finally my turn. The clerk gives me a polite nod, not looking too surprised at the amount, just entering it mechanically. I wonder if that's what it means to live here in the Sapphire District. Even miracles look normal if you're rich enough. Once the deposit is done, I step outside and check my balance on my mobile banking app. Balance: 183,500 yen. It feels surreal. 2 days ago, I was wondering if I could stretch cup ramen until payday. Now I could take the train anywhere in the city and not even flinch when the terminal blinks premium zone. Still, that mission is stuck in my head. Help someone without expecting a reward. I shove my hands in my pockets and start walking. Let's see what fate throws at me. 3 blocks later, fate answers. A sharp yelp cuts through the air, a high-pitched, startled sound. I turn the corner and see a girl kneeling on the pavement, groceries spilled across the sidewalk. One of those sleek delivery drones zipped by too fast and knocked the bag from her arms. Eggs cracked, milk bottle rolling, vegetables going on a road trip, and no one stops. People walk past her like she's invisible, like it's not their moment to care. I hate that. So I walk over and crouch beside her. Hey, you okay? I ask. She looks up, startled. Pale purple eyes, half hidden by short, ash-colored bangs. Probably my age. Wearing a university jacket from Central Tech. One knee scraped. Why yeah, this stupid drone, she groans, wiping her hand on her skirt. I start picking up the groceries with her. No system prompt, no glow, no dramatic piano swell, just a simple act. When we're done, she exhales and stands. Thanks. Seriously. Everyone else just kept walking. I shrug. You look like you could use a hand. Still, not everyone would have stopped. You a student? Yeah, literature department. She gives me a curious look, then nods. You don't look like a lit guy. Before I can ask what that means, she waves awkwardly and jogs off toward the train station. I dust my hands off and look up at the sky. The clouds are starting to part. And then, mission complete. Objective: help someone without expecting a reward. Trait unlocked. Light step. Footsteps no longer make noise. System level progress. 1/3 missions completed for cap upgrade. I smile to myself. Okay, so this thing's real, and it's only getting started. When your life changes overnight, you expect trumpets, or maybe glowing lights, fireworks, a sign that says congratulations, you're no longer a loser. Instead, all I get is a text message. Unknown number. Kaido Run. We've been informed of your recent upgrade. Your presence is requested at Sapphire Club, tonight at 8 p.m. Formal dress preferred. No plus ones. BG. There's no link. No location. No explanation. Just the kind of message you'd expect from someone who either works for a secret agency or a pyramid scheme. I sit on the edge of my futon, rereading it 5 times. The system hasn't said anything. No new panels. No glowing confirmation. No mission attached. And yet, I can't shake the feeling that this is the next mission. 8 p.m. sounds far away. It's barely noon, but my stomach's already in knots. I check my balance again. 183,500 yen. Still there. Still real. I could ignore the message, stay in my apartment, make instant noodles, and try to write a poem about betrayal and vending machines. But something tells me this isn't the kind of invitation you decline. And deep down, a part of me is curious. Who even knows I have the system? By 6:30 p.m., I'm in front of the mirror, wearing the only button-up shirt I own that doesn't look like it lost a fight with a washing machine. Black slacks, clean sneakers, hair vaguely tamed. I look passable. Yuuto would probably call me a mild threat level 3. Good enough. I plug my phone into the portable charger and search for Sapphire Club on the local map. No public listing. Not surprising. I close the app and step out. The night air is crisp. The streets are alive with neon and magtram hums. Minato Core always feels a little surreal after sunset, like the city's cosplaying itself. I follow the directions in my head, down into the Sapphire District. Sapphire District is like someone took all the wealth in the world and poured it into one neighborhood. Sky towers with chrome glass skins, hovering ad orbs, private elevators that look like sci-fi movie props. And then there's Sapphire Club. No sign, just a tall black door embedded in the side of a curved building, guarded by 2 men in navy suits with earpieces and those eyes that never blink. I approach, heart trying to punch its way out of my chest. One of the men scans me, literally. A pale blue light sweeps over my body. Then he nods. Confirmed. Welcome, Kaido Rin. The door opens without a sound. I step inside. Sapphire Club is nothing like I expected. There's no thumping bass. No wild crowds. Just atmosphere. Warm lighting. Polished floors. Clean air that smells like vanilla, and something expensive I can't name. People move through the lounge in quiet conversation. Well-dressed, composed. Eyes sharp. And they're young. Maybe 20 to 25, tops. Everyone looks like they came out of a luxury catalog, and they all seem to notice me the moment I enter. One girl leans over to her friend and whispers something. A guy with icy blue hair raises a glass in mock salute. I freeze, suddenly aware that I don't belong here. Then, a voice calls out from the side. Kaido Run. I turn. A woman approaches, tall, early 20s, short black suit dress, hair pulled into a sleek ponytail. She carries a tablet in one hand and confidence in the other. I'm Bianca, she says, offering a quick bow. I'm the Sapphire District's liaison for all new system holders. There it is. System holders. Plural. So I'm not the only one. Come with me, she says. There's something you need to see. She leads me to a private side room. It's quiet, soundproofed, lit like a low-key tech demo. She taps the tablet. A screen lights up on the wall, displaying a grid of names, symbols, and strange numeric codes. I stare. Each square shows a name, an icon, and a short title. Name, Heir to Juno. System, Voice of Command. Level, 3. Current territory, Eastern Core. Name, Luna Seraphine. System, Echo Trade. Level 2. Current territory, Verdant Row. Then I see mine. Name, Kaido Ren. System, Hundredfold Return. Level 1. Territory, Pending. Wait, what's this? I ask, voice cracking slightly. Bianca doesn't smile. Welcome to the game, Mr. Run. The game. Some call it that. Others call it fate. But you've been chosen by the Blue Planet's resource system. Whether you like it or not, you're part of the balance now. She taps a few times, and the screen returns to darkness. You've just stepped into a world where money isn't everything. It's just the beginning. She stands and hands me a sleek black card. Access granted. Level 1 holder. Sapphire Club affiliate. Spend wisely, she says. And don't trust anyone too quickly. Then she walks out, leaving me alone in a room that suddenly feels much too quiet. I've been sitting in the same room for 12 minutes. I know because there's a minimalist digital clock embedded into the wall across from me. Subtle, like everything in this club. It doesn't tick. It doesn't blink. It just updates. 1 minute, then the next. And in that time, I've learned exactly nothing. No one came back. Bianca didn't say if I should wait, or follow, or if I'd just been recruited into some cult with an amazing lighting budget. All I have is the card she handed me. Sleek, black, no chip, no barcode, just a single symbol etched in metallic blue. Infinity. I run my thumb over it again, half expecting it to disappear or activate a self-destruct timer. But it's just a card, and I'm just me, still sitting in this impossibly quiet room, wearing an iron shirt that suddenly feels 2 sizes too tight. I finally stand. The moment I do, the door slides open automatically with a soft mechanical shhhh, like it was waiting for me to figure out I could leave at any time. I step back into the lounge. It's mostly cleared out now. A few scattered conversations hum quietly, but no one's paying attention to me anymore. Good. I slip the card into my wallet, pull my hoodie over my shirt, and walk toward the exit. Outside, the night feels colder than it should. The streets of Sapphire District aren't like the ones I'm used to. There's a kind of elegance here, even in silence. The air smells faintly of sea salt and money. The lights don't flicker. The sidewalks clean themselves. And the traffic moves like it's been choreographed. I walk without a destination, which is when the system pings again. New system reward unlocked. Milestone. System awareness confirmed. Reward. Property allocation. Location. Delivered via encrypted coordinates. Claimable now. Would you like to navigate? Yes/no. I freeze on the spot. Property allocation? Wait. As in a building. I hesitate. Then whisper, yes. A map projection opens in the top right corner of my vision, semi-transparent and overlaid on the real world. It guides me with pulsing arrows down a quiet side street. I follow. 3 turns later, I stop in front of a narrow alley squeezed between 2 high-end cafes. One of those alleys you'd walk past 100 times and never glance into. The map blinks. Destination reached. I squint into the darkness. There's something at the end, an old steel gate with faded paint and a cracked keypad on the wall beside it. The moment I approach, the keypad flashes. Access granted. Holder ID, Kaido REN. The gate unlocks with a loud clank that echoes a bit too much in the empty alley. I push it open. Beyond it is a courtyard. Overgrown, dusty, paved in uneven bricks. And sitting in the middle of it all, a building. 3 stories tall, narrow and long. The kind of structure that looks like it used to be something grand before the world forgot it existed. I walk closer. The front doors are thick, reinforced, with old brass handles. One of them creaks open as I approach, again, without me touching anything. Inside, it smells like wood, age, and quiet potential. A narrow lobby stretches inward. To the left, a stairwell. To the right, a closed door marked office. There's no one here. No tenants. No security. Not even a flickering light. Just me. And this building. A gift from a system that refuses to explain itself. Property transfer complete. Owner, Kaido Ren. Designation, pending. Renovation options. Locked. System level 2 required. Staff recruitment. Available. Tenant status. Vacant. Passive income. Disabled. System note. Value is built, not given. I step into the main hallway and lean against the wall. The floor creaks under me. The air feels heavy, but there's something here. Not money, not power, potential. A seed, buried deep under all this dust and silence. And for the first time in, I don't know how long, I don't feel useless. I don't feel broken. I feel like something is beginning. Slowly, quietly, but beginning all the same. The first time I walk through the building alone, I try not to breathe too deeply. Dust coats everything. Not thick enough to choke on, but enough that my shoes leave prints with every step. Like the place has been frozen in time, just waiting for someone to press play again. The light fixtures flicker when I pass beneath them, like they're trying to remember how electricity works. The first floor is long and narrow. Wooden floors, faded wallpaper, a row of doorways on either side. The hallway stretches all the way to the back, where a staircase curls upward like a spine. I check the first few rooms. Empty. Not abandoned, exactly. Just untouched. A forgotten hotel, or maybe an old-style boarding house. The kind of place where secrets used to live. I step into one of the rooms on the left. It's small but cozy. Wooden floors, built-in closet, sliding window. The air smells faintly of cedar and history. And strangely, it doesn't feel lonely. Upstairs, it's more of the same. Second floor, 6 more rooms. Some with old furniture covered in white cloths. Some bare. Third floor, a large central room with a broken chandelier. A small kitchen tucked into the corner. A hallway of private doors. Everything feels like someone left in a hurry but planned to come back. And never did. I make it back down to the front lobby and sit on the stairs. The silence here is different than my apartments. That one's cold. Empty. This one, it's layered. Like the building itself is listening. Waiting. I lean back and sigh. What am I supposed to do with all this? The system doesn't answer. No glowing screen. No mission. just the steady tick of time and the occasional creak of what's shifting around me. I glance over toward the old mailbox built into the wall near the front door. It has 6 compartments, all labeled in faded ink. Names I don't recognize. Unit 1A, Hoshino. Unit 1B, vacant. Unit 2A, Mori. Unit 2B, vacant. Unit 3A, vacant. Unit 3B, vacant. Wait, names? Are there still tenants? I hurry over and pull open the slot for 1A. Inside, there's a letter. A real one. Yellow envelope, sealed. Addressed in elegant handwriting. To the new owner of this place, assuming you're real. I tear it open carefully and unfold the letter inside. Hello. If you're reading this, then I'm guessing the system finally assigned someone new to the building. Congrats, or maybe condolences. We've been living here quietly for years. Don't ask how. We have our own arrangements. But lately, things have slowed down. We figured the place might go quiet forever. I'm in Unit 1A. My name's Hoshino. If you're serious about keeping this place alive, come by tomorrow evening. I'll make tea. You probably have questions. Also, don't be alarmed if you hear someone humming on the 3rd floor late at night. That's just Mori. She doesn't sleep much. Welcome to the house that forgot how to die. I stare at the letter for a long time, rereading that last line again and again. The house that forgot how to die. That's poetic, creepy, and somehow exactly right. I fold the letter and slip it into my jacket. Somewhere above me, a floorboard creaks. Not in a threatening way. Not like horror movie timing. More like acknowledgement. I look up at the ceiling. Okay, I murmur. Looks like I've got neighbors. I didn't sleep well. Not because of nightmares or some supernatural ghost event. Just anticipation. A soft buzz in the back of my brain that made me toss and turn until the sun came up, then immediately regret not sleeping when I had the chance. So now it's evening, and I'm standing in front of Unit 1A with a gift I panicked into buying on the way here. A pack of fancy tea biscuits and an overpriced box I couldn't afford last week. The hallway is quiet. Light leaks from under the door, warm and golden, like it belongs to another time. I knock gently. A pause. Then the sound of soft slippers across old wood. The door opens halfway. She looks younger than I expected. Early 20s, maybe. Short dark brown hair. Soft eyes the color of overcast sky. And a cardigan that looks like it's been mended a dozen times. There's a quiet patience in her expression, like she's already seen how this conversation ends. You came, she says. I got your letter, I reply, holding up the biscuit box like a weird peace offering. Also, hi. I'm Kaido. I guess I own this place now. She tilts her head slightly, then opens the door wider. You'd better come in before the building changes its mind. I blink. Wait, what? She doesn't explain. I step inside. Her unit feels like an entirely different world. The floors are polished. There's a tiny bookshelf, overflowing with paperbacks. A futon rolled into the corner. A low table set for 2 with mismatched cups already steaming. The air smells like black tea with cinnamon and something floral I can't place. You really live here? I ask, glancing around. For the last 4 years, she says, taking a seat and motioning for me to join her. The building's selective. Not everyone stays long, but it seems to like me. I sit down awkwardly, the floor cushion sighing under my weight. Hoshino, right? She nods. Akari Hoshino. You can call me Hoshino. Most people do. You said you've been living here quietly, but the place was empty when I came through yesterday. Empty to most, she says, gently blowing on her tea. But not to people like us. I blink. People like us. System holders, she says, as if that should have been obvious. I stare into my teacup. So you have one too? She nods slowly. Mine's not as flashy as yours. I don't get surprise buildings or infinite cashback. Mine's more attunement-based. Meaning, I understand things. Patterns. Shifts. The undercurrent of things unsaid. She sips her tea, then adds, yours is practical. Mine is perceptive. I pause, trying to ram my head around that. So like, a therapist with cheat codes. She actually laughs. It's soft and quiet, but real. I've never heard it put that way, but sure. We talk. Slowly, carefully. She explains how the building once had 9 tenants. How people came and went, like leaves drifting through a river. Some were chosen by their systems. Some stumbled in. A few vanished without warning. And somehow, the place remained, hidden, tucked into the folds of the city, like a forgotten word in a sentence you almost remember. "You're the first new owner it's accepted in almost a decade," she says. "That implies it rejected others." It did. I sip my tea. It's surprisingly good. Warm, grounding, like something brewed more for comfort than taste. Hoshino watches me with an unreadable expression. "You seem calm," I say, try not to sound too awkward. "Considering a stranger just got handed your home." She shrugs gently. "The building decides who belongs. If it chose you, then I'll trust it, for now." Then she leans forward slightly. "But you should know, buildings like this don't stay quiet forever. They collect things. People, stories, emotions." Her voice lowers just a little. "And not everything they collect stays asleep." I leave Unit 1, just before midnight. The hallway is dark, lit only by a single wall lamp that flickers as I pass. And for a moment, just a moment, I think I hear her humming from the third floor. High, soft, beautiful, and unmistakably not coming from a recording. I glance up the stairwell. "Mori," I whisper. Then I head to my own room and lock the door. It starts with a ping, not a loud one, just a soft ting in the back of my mind, like a distant bell reminding me I still have a system attached to my life now. The blue panel floats up in my vision while I brush my teeth the next morning. New mission available. Title: Hire a manager you trust. Objective: delegate responsibility for the property's day-to-day care. Reward: unlock passive income stream. Tier 1. Bonus reward: if successful within 48 hours building upgrades. Cosmetic. Notes: trust matters more than efficiency. I spit out the toothpaste and lean over the sink. A manager? I glance around the bathroom of my temporary room on the second floor. The mirror is slightly warped, the tiles don't match, and the towel rack squeaks when I hang anything on it. Yeah, this place definitely needs a manager. The thing is, I don't even know where to start. I don't have anyone I trust with something like this. My social circle consists of 1. Yuuto, who's great at borrowing money and worse at returning it. 2. My part-time boss at the bookstore, who once forgot my name mid-shift. 3. Hoshino, who seems calm, competent, and not particularly interested in managing anyone's life but her own. So yeah, not exactly a deep bench. Still, the mission said someone you trust, not someone with experience, which feels like a setup. 2 hours later, I'm sitting in a local cafe downtown, sipping iced tea and scrolling through listings on my phone. Freelance property management services. 5 stars. Too professional. Ex-retail manager looking for quiet work. No weekends. Too bitter. Recent grad with logistics training. Willing to learn. Too vague. I rub my eyes and sigh. Then I remember something. Actually, someone. Back in high school, there was this girl named Now. 1 year younger than me. Ran the event committees like a general. Could organize anything with zero notice. We weren't close, but we always got paired up for student council events. She was sharp, honest, and had this terrifying ability to remember everyone's schedules better than they did. She always said she'd manage her own business someday. Last I heard, she dropped out of uni after her father passed and took up 2 part-time jobs. I scroll through my contacts. There it is. Now Morikawa. I haven't texted her in over a year. I stare at the screen. Then I send the message. Hey, it's Kaido Run. From Ishihara High. I know this is random, but are you free to meet this evening? I have a weird offer. 3 minutes later, she replies. If it pays better than working double shifts for caffeine zombies, I'm listening. Where and when? I blink at my screen. That was fast. And very now. We meet at 6 p.m. outside the tram stop nearest the building. She looks tired but sharp. Simple blouse, ponytail, black work pants. She doesn't waste time on greetings. You said weird offer. Let's hear it. I gesture toward the alley. Follow me. She raises an eyebrow, but doesn't question it. We walk through the gate together, and I watch her eyes take in the courtyard, the old stonework, the way the building looms quietly under the dusk light. You live here? She asks. I own it. I get to look. You. Long story, I mutter. The short version is, I have an opening. I need someone to manage the property, oversee repairs, maybe help coordinate future tenants. She stares at me. You said this was weird. You didn't say it was crazy. I can pay. Fairly. How fairly? Enough to stop doing caffeine zombie shifts. She's quiet for a second. Then she walks up the steps and opens the front door like she's already accepted the offer and just needs to evaluate the damage. Inside, she moves through the lobby like she's scanning the entire building structure with her eyes. Touches the railing. Checks the temperature. Taps her knuckle against a support beam and nods to herself. Wood frame solid. Ceilings need resealing. Windows are antique. Expensive to replace, but maybe worth keeping. Layout's old school, but has character. I blink. Do you moonlight as an architect now? She smirks. I moonlight as a functional human. I pick things up. By the time we make a full loop through the first 2 floors, she turns to me with a very serious expression. This place needs work. It's going to take actual hours. Maybe weeks. And I don't run things halfway. I know. You want me to manage it. I want someone I can rely on. She studies me. Why now? Because I got dumped and woke up with a supernatural money system? I don't say that. I just meet her gaze and say, because I think this place deserves to live again, and I can't do it alone. A beat passes. Then she smiles, barely. Just a little. I'll draw up a plan. She doesn't say yes, but she doesn't need to. Mission complete. Objective. Hire a manager you trust. Reward unlocked. Passive income. Tier 1. Estimated monthly income, 40,000 yen. Cosmetic upgrade options available. Bonus trait unlocked. First step, future missions now offer dual paths. I watch now as she pulls out a notebook and starts scribbling rough layouts, already muttering to herself about repair costs and paint schemes. And for the first time since this all began, I don't feel like I'm carrying the weight alone. This place really might come back to life. Piece by piece. Person by person. It starts again at 11:46 p.m. Soft, steady humming, barely louder than the breeze slipping through the window cracks. The kind of sound that doesn't demand attention. It just exists like it's always been there. I'm lying in bed, staring at the ceiling. I'd almost convinced myself I imagined it last time. But no, it's real, and it's coming from the 3rd floor. Hoshino mentioned her by name. Mori. No details. No warning. Just a casual mention, like she was describing the weather. She doesn't sleep much. Well, neither do I, apparently. I sit up, grab my hoodie from the chair, and slip out into the hallway. The building is quiet. Not dead quiet. Just the kind of silence that makes every footstep feel a little too loud, even though I have that passive trait now. Light step. My footsteps make no sound, but the floor still creaks beneath me, like the building wants to remind me it's still listening. I make my way up to the 3rd floor. There's a long hallway with 6 doors, 3 on each side. The humming's coming from the last one at the end. 3B. It's an old tune. Something slow. Not sad, but distant. Like someone remembering a song they used to love, even if they can't recall all the words anymore. I hesitate in front of the door. Then I knock gently. The humming stops. For a long second, nothing happens. Then, click. The door opens 3 inches. I see one pale. I peek through the gap. Gray-blue, like moonlight caught in frost. She doesn't say anything. I try. I'm Kaido. I own the building now. Pause. Then a whisper, soft and even. I know. Another pause. Sorry to interrupt. I heard your song. It's nice. You knocked off beat, she says. You were humming with me, but you missed the rhythm. I blink. Oh, sorry. Another few seconds pass. Then, slowly, the door opens wider. And I see her. She's barefoot, wearing a loose sweater and pajama shorts, her hair long and dark, draped across one shoulder like a veil. She has a look in her eyes that makes you think she's halfway between sleep and dreaming, and not in a hurry to leave either. You're the first person to knock, she says softly. How long have you been living here? Since I forgot how to leave. Is that a metaphor? She tilts her head. Maybe. She lets me step into her room without asking if I want to. It's not what I expected. No dust. No cobwebs. Everything is neat, precise, but oddly colorless. Pale curtains. White bedding. Gray carpet. A keyboard in the corner, spotless. Books stacked in careful vertical piles, like towers that aren't meant to be touched. It feels like stepping into someone's mind. She sits cross-legged on the floor and pats the space across from her. I sit. She studies me without speaking, then says, "You're the first owner who stayed more than a day. That a good thing?" "Maybe," she says. Or maybe the building wants something from you. Like what? She shrugs. Not my job to know. I just listen. To what? Her voice is soft. The space between things. The parts no one speaks. The music under the silence. I stare at her for a moment. Are you a poet? Or are you just messing with me? This time, she smiles. It's small, quick, but real. You're interesting, she says. I'm also confused most of the time. Then you're paying attention. We sit for a while. Not talking. Not uncomfortable either. She starts humming again, barely audible. And this time, I don't try to match it. I just listen. She closes her eyes like the sound is more for the room than for me. Finally, she opens them. I'm not much help with repairs, or business, or dealing with people. But if something changes, I'll know first. I believe you. She nods once. Okay. Then she stands and walks over to the door, which I guess is her way of saying the meeting's over. Before I step out, I glance back. What's your full name? I ask. She tilts her head slightly. Just Mori, she says. The rest doesn't fit anymore. The door closes behind me with a soft click. Back in my room, I lie awake for a long time. The humming fades again, but something about it lingers. Like she's not just singing into the night, but watching the world shift through the notes. It's subtle, not a crash, not a spark, not even a flicker of light. Just a feeling, like a room that was always cold has turned warm. But you didn't notice it until you sat still long enough to feel the difference. That's how it starts. The building begins to shift. I wake to the scent of lavender and old pine. Not from my soap, not from the hallway, from the walls themselves. The creaking in the floorboards is softer today, like something beneath the wood is relieved. The third floor lights don't flicker when I pass anymore. Even the windows seem cleaner, though no one's touched them. I stop by the front lobby and realize something's different. The dust on the stair rail is gone. Not cleaned, just gone. I check the baseboards. Polished. The scent again, lavender and pine. I open the system panel just in case. And there it is. System update. Building state recognized. Emotional signature detected. Calm restoration. The building has awakened. Passive influence enabled. Residents gain slow, emotional healing over time. Unlock condition met. New feature, building bond level 1. You are now linked to this location. You may name it. I stare at the panel for a long moment. Name it. Like a pet? Or a person? Or maybe like a memory that's finally coming to focus. I walk the halls slowly, touching the walls like they might speak back. On the second floor, Now's posted sticky notes in every corner. Replace this trim. Window warped. Loose hinge. Probably ghosts. Her handwriting is sharp and slanted. All business. On the third floor, Mori's door is cracked open. The humming is softer this morning. Almost lazy. Like even her music is still waking up. And on the first floor, Hoshino sits in the lobby with a tea set and a newspaper like she's part of the furniture now. Something feels different, I murmur. She nods without looking up. The building's starting to trust you. Buildings don't trust people. Some don't, she says. This one does. I sit beside her, watching steam curl from her cup. What happens now? I ask. She sips her tea. That depends. Do you want to just own this place, or become part of it? I don't answer right away, because I already know. Later that evening, I open the system panel again. There's a blinking cursor next to the text. Name this building. I think about it. About the feeling I had when I first stepped into the dust and quiet. About Hoshino's letter. About Mori's music. About Now's planning. And about myself. Some kid who got dumped, hit rock bottom, and is somehow rebuilding his life with people he never expected. I tap the virtual keys slowly. Name this building. House of Second Mornings. The panel shimmers. Name accepted. House of Second Mornings. Building bond level 1. Influence area 30 m radius. Passive effect. Emotional stability mild. System note. When a place becomes a home, it starts to remember. Next unlock. Add your first resident by choice, not chance. Reward. Building bond level 2 plus internal renovation options. It's official now. It's not just some abandoned property granted by a mysterious cosmic banking app. It's a home. And maybe that includes me, too. I didn't expect mail. Not here. Not in a building that was, until about 3 days ago, more ghost than home. But when I checked the old front mailbox that morning, mostly out of habit, or maybe curiosity, I find an envelope, cream-colored, tied with string. No stamp, no return address, just one line in clean, deliberate handwriting. To the caretaker of the house of second mornings. I stare at it for a moment, then glance around the hallway like someone might step out and say, just kidding. No one does. I break the string, unfold the letter, and read. Dear caretaker, if this letter has reached you, then I suppose the house has begun waking again. I felt the shift from far outside the district, like the quiet tug of a place that wants to be found. My name is Sayu. I don't have much, but I'm looking for somewhere to belong. Somewhere that won't ask me to be more than I am right now. I hear you have space. If you're willing, I'd like to visit. No expectations. Just tea and a talk. I'll be outside the main gate tomorrow at noon. Sayu. I read it 3 times. Then a 4th. The letter smells faintly of bergamot and rain. I fold it carefully and tuck it into my jacket pocket. Next unlock. Add your first resident by choice, not chance. Looks like the building is ready. The question is, am I? Noon comes faster than expected. I pace the courtyard once, then twice. The gate still creaks when it opens. The brick path is still uneven near the end. But there's something comforting about the imperfections now. Like the building wants to be understood, not just polished. Then I see her. She rounds the corner without fanfare, dragging a small suitcase behind her. Short black boots, cream-colored coat, hair tied loosely to one side. There's a softness in her posture, but her eyes scan everything with quiet awareness, like she's already measuring the mood of the place. She stops in front of me and bows lightly. I'm Sai. Kaido run. I say, then realize how formal I sound. You can just call me Kaido. I'm the, building's current holder. She smiles a little. That's a strange way to say landlord. I'm not really a landlord, I admit. I think the place chose me more than I chose it. I thought so. She runs a hand along the gate gently, like she's listening for something in the iron. I could feel it, the moment I stepped into the district. Feel what? That this place forgives people, she says simply. We sit in the front room. I make tea. Something herbal from Hoshino's stash. She doesn't ask for sugar or milk, just accepts the cup like it's part of some quiet ritual. She doesn't say much at first. Neither do I. We let the building speak for a while. Birdsong outside the windows. A soft breeze pushing past the curtains. Footsteps on the second floor, probably now doing inventory again. Distant humming from above. Mori like always. Sayu holds her tea like it's grounding her. Finally, she says, I don't want anything big. Just a small room. A quiet place. Maybe a window. That's doable, I say. I don't have a long resume. Or savings. Or references. I've moved around a lot. Stayed in too many places where the walls listen wrong. I tilt my head. What do you mean? Some places absorb fear, she says softly. Some echo arguments long after people leave. Some just want to be left alone. This place. She closes her eyes. It wants a shelter. System update. Candidate. Sayu. Resident type. First voluntary arrival. Emotional compatibility. Aligned. Add as resident. Yes/no. Reward. Building bond level +1, room auto renovation, single unit, passive trait, soothing presence, area effect. I look at the floating prompt. Then it's Sayu. I'd like you to stay, I say. She opens her eyes. For a second, something flickers in her expression, something like surprise, then relief, then the kind of acceptance that people don't show easily. Okay, she says quietly. I'll take care of the paperwork later. I joke, even though there isn't any. She smiles. And just like that, the house gains its first new heartbeat. That evening, I show her to the second floor, room 2B, previously marked as vacant in the mailbox. When we open the door, something's changed. The walls are freshly painted, pale peach, with soft light from the window. The air smells clean, the bed is made, and there's a teacup already placed on the desk. Sayu stands in the doorway, motionless. I didn't do that, I say. She runs a hand across the desk slowly. No, the house did. New resident added. I say, why you? Building bond level 2. Passive effect unlocked. Soothing presence. Emotional fatigue reduces 10% faster in shared spaces. Renovation menu unlocked. Second floor customization. Next milestone. Host a meal with all current residents. I stand outside her door for a moment after she settles in. The hallway feels different. Fuller. Quieter, in a good way. I think the house is smiling. It was Hoshino's idea. She popped her head into the common room this morning with a cup of tea in one hand and a very matter-of-fact look in her eyes. You have 4 residents now. That makes it a house, not a collection of loners. I'm not sure Mori counts as a... She hummed 3 verses of Spiraling Stars last night. Hoshino interrupted. That means she's feeling conversational. That means something. She's very thematic with her songs. And just like that, I got roped into hosting dinner. Now it's evening. The kitchen is warm. Something's simmering on the stove. Rice, a light miso soup, grilled mackerel with yuzu, and a few simple sides I managed to throw together without burning the building down. I'm no chef. I just use what I had. The fridge, oddly, always has just enough when I check. As if the house knows. The table in the common room is set with mismatched plates. 1 chipped, 1 fancy, 2 plain, for cups of barley tea. It's quiet, but it's a different kind of quiet now. Like anticipation. Hoshino is the first to arrive. She carries a small tray of pickled vegetables and sets them down like this is a tea ceremony. You remember to rinse the rice properly? She asks, sitting cross-legged on the floor cushion like she's been living here for years. 3 times, I say. For would have been better. I sigh. I'm doing my best. Your best has potential, which I think is her version of a compliment. Now arrives next, wearing her work jacket and ponytail still tied high from the cafe shift she just got off of. She blinks at the spread. Whoa, you cook? Technically, yes. And it's not ramen. I have layers. She grins and plops down across from Hoshino. This place is starting to feel like one of those weird share house dramas. It's more stable than that, Hoshino says. Yet, Mori drifts in last. No footsteps, as always. She doesn't say anything, just hums a short 2-note motif and takes the last cushion, folding her hands in her lap like this is a chapel, and we're worshipping rice. Sayu appears a moment later, soft-footed, her hair still damp from a shower. She smiles at everyone, bows slightly, and settles in beside Mori without a word. 4 of them, and me. 5 people sitting in a half-renovated building around a mismatched table eating a humble dinner like it means something. Because it does. The conversation is light at first. Work, weather, the creaky noise in the hallway that Mori claims is not a ghost, but possibly an emotional echo. I don't ask. Now argues with Hoshino over how to reorganize the storage closet. Sayu quietly thanks me for the meal, eyes lowered, but sincere. Mori eats slowly, methodically, like each bite is being translated into some kind of private melody. There's no music playing, but there doesn't need to be. The room has rhythm now. Not perfect, but human. System prompt. Group dynamic forming. Shared meal event triggered. Reward. Building bond +1. Trait unlocked. Echo warmth. Echo warmth. Passive when 3 or more residents are in a room. Stress levels decrease and emotional healing accelerates. Next milestone. Resident contribution event. First gift. After dinner. Now insists on washing the dishes. Hoshino organizes the leftovers into perfect triangle containers. Sayu starts folding the cloth napkins, even though I didn't know we had any. Mori doesn't help. Instead, she walks over to the hallway piano, half covered in a sheet, and taps a few keys like she's testing whether the house approves of our gathering. Then she plays a short phrase. 5 notes. Simple, gentle, hopeful. She doesn't say anything, just gets up and walks away, humming faintly. Sayu watches her leave, then glances back at me. She played a major key, she says softly. Is that a big deal? Sayu smiles, warm and slow. It means she's happy. Later, after everyone's drifted off to their rooms, I sit at the table alone. The air still hums with something soft. Something right. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just the quiet knowing of people slowly becoming more than strangers. I don't know what this place will be yet, but it's becoming something. One dinner at a time. The note is taped to my door. A tiny square of pale gray paper, folded once, with my name written in pencil. Kaido. In precise, slanted lettering. I almost don't notice it when I return from the bakery downstairs with a bag of warm melon bread tucked under my arm. The kind of morning where you expect nothing but tea and emails. But the note is there. Unmistakably there. I peel it off the wood and open it. Third floor. Noon. Come alone. Bring no expectations. I stare at it for a few seconds. No signature, but it doesn't need one. Who else would write like a cryptic side quest from a surrealist RPG? At 11:58 a.m., I climb the stairs. The third floor hallway is silent. The air feels softer, like it's holding its breath. Her door is slightly open again. 3B. I knock, but there's no answer. Just a soft piano note, pressed gently from inside. I push the door open and step in. Her room hasn't changed much. Still pale. Still quiet. Still organized with that eerie, deliberate minimalism that makes it feel more like a memory than a living space. But today, something is different. There's a cloth laid out on the floor, smooth and wrinkle-free. On it, for small objects, spaced like points on a compass. In the center, a teacup filled with water. Clear. Still. Mori is seated cross-legged nearby, eyes closed. She gestures for me to sit across from her. I do. We sit in silence for a long moment. Then she speaks. Her voice is soft, airy, but not fragile. I don't give gifts often. They make things uneven. I nod, unsure if I should speak yet. But this one felt necessary. She reaches to the object in front of her, what looks like a small, folded origami crane, made of translucent paper. She lifts it gently and sets it on the cloth between us. It doesn't move, but something about it hums. Not audibly, just in the way some things carry presence. System event. First gift received. Resident. Mori. Emotional signature. Resonant offering. Item. Folded echo. Description. A silent promise, shaped like sound. Function. Unknown. Building bond progress. +1. You may now designate a resonant space within the house. Residents in this space will experience heightened emotional clarity and temporary memory recall. I stare at the system message, then back at the tiny crane. It's beautiful, I say. Mori watches me closely, eyes unreadable. It's not meant to be, she says. Beauty fades. This was made to remember. She reaches out and taps the cup of water once. A ripple spreads across the surface. I lived here long before I understood why, she says quietly. Before you came. Before Hoshino started setting her tea by the window. Before Now brought her planner and turned the hallways into a blueprint. A pause. And before Sayu looked at the cracks in the floor like they made sense. You were alone, I say. She nods once. This place was too quiet. Now it's humming. She touches the crane again, but doesn't lift it. This is for the house. But it starts with you. She stands quietly. The conversation is over. Not in a rude way, just final. Complete. I pick up the origami crane carefully, holding it like it might melt. As I reach the door, Mori says one more thing. It only sings once, she says. So choose the moment. Then she hums a few notes. 5. Same as the one she played on the piano after dinner. And I realize, those weren't just music. They were goodbye to loneliness. Later that day, I placed the crane in the common room, on the low table between the old bookshelf and the half-covered piano. The moment I set it down, the air shifts. The temperature rises slightly, and every creak in the building stops. Just for a moment. Resonant space established. Common room. Emotional clarity active. Residents may share feelings more easily here. Memory recall trigger enabled. Rare events may echo through time. New trait gained. Caretaker's ear. You can now hear emotional notes in your residents' voices. Passive. Accuracy increases with trust. I sit down on the couch across from the little crane and stare at it. It doesn't move, doesn't glow, but I can feel it, like the room itself just exhaled. Mori's gift wasn't just an object. It was a statement. She believes in this place. In us. In me. I stay there a long time. Long enough that Now passes through and raises an eyebrow at the crane, muttering, "Why is there a bird on the tea table?" Saya doesn't say anything. She just looks at it, then smiles faintly. And Hoshino, she bows to it. Not deeply, just enough to acknowledge it. The way you greet a spirit. It starts with a knock. Not loud, not urgent, but deliberate. 3 taps, spaced evenly. Sharp. I look up from my spot in the common room, where I've been sipping tea and listening to the soft hum of the building settle into its afternoon calm. The folded crane still sits on the table, perfectly still. I glance toward the front hallway. No one knocks on our door. The only people who come through the gate either live here or belong here. So whoever this is, they're neither. I stand slowly, brush biscuit crumbs from my lap, and walk to the front door. I open it, and there she is. Tailored navy coat, thin silver-framed glasses, slate gray heels that somehow don't echo on the stone path. Bianca, the liaison from the Sapphire Club. She gives me a small, measured nod. Not cold, but not warm either. Like someone who never takes her gloves off. Kaido run, she says. Good afternoon. Didn't expect to see you again. You will. From time to time. She tilts her head slightly. May I come in? I glance behind me. At the soft light, the warmth, the faint scent of tea and wood polish. Then back at her. I step aside. Don't touch anything weird. She smiles faintly. I'll do my best. She steps into the front hallway like she's crossing into another country. For a second, she pauses. Just the smallest flicker of something. Her shoulders adjusting, her eyes scanning upward. You named it, she says. The House of Second Mornings. She nods once, almost approving. It's fitting. Bianca walks a few steps toward the common room, stops short when she sees the origami crane, then turns back to me. The building's bond with you has strengthened faster than anticipated. Is that bad? No, she says, but it's uncommon. Usually, these structures resist until power is proven through authority. You're moving through emotion instead. I shrug, not really interested in authority, which is why the house accepts you. She says it like it's both praise and warning. I motion for her to sit at the table across from the crane. She declines with a polite shake of her head. I won't stay long. Then why are you here? She slides a slim envelope from her coat pocket and places it on the table. The paper has the same faint shimmer as the Sapphire Club's entry seal. This is an invitation, not a summons. I raise an eyebrow. You're being considered for tier advancement. I blink. I thought I was still level 1. You are, but your bond level has advanced the house's resonance node. That qualifies you for structural influence territory testing. I stare at her blankly. She sighs, just a little, and rephrases. You're building something people are noticing, Kaido. Something felt. The kind of thing that bends traffic without signs and settles nerves without words. I glance at the letter. What happens if I open it? You'll be evaluated. For suitability, she says. Leadership potential. Resource allocation. They'll look at your building, your residence, your emotional imprint. And then, if they approve, I get power. I say, no. Bianca replies softly. You get responsibility. I don't open the envelope. Not yet. She doesn't press. Instead, she studies the folded crane again. Mori made that. I nod. She gifted it after the dinner. I see. Bianca pauses. She's more important than she lets on, you know. My eyes narrow. You know her. I know of her. Bianca corrects. She's one of the oldest known emotional anchors tied to a system-bonded structure. She's lived through several owners. Never left. Why? She said she was waiting for someone the house liked more than it feared. She turns to me. Looks like it finally found one. Bianca walks back to the door. She pauses before stepping outside. The invitation doesn't expire, but opportunities do. She steps out into the afternoon air, heels clicking softly on the stone as she vanishes into the alley, the same way she came. I sit back down at the table. The envelope sits beside the crane. The sunlight through the window falls across them both. One crisp and sealed, the other soft and handmade. Power and patience. Past and future. What I didn't ask for. The other, slowly becoming mine. I reach for the envelope, then stop, and leave it unopened. For now. Saya knocks on my door, just after 7 a.m., which is strange for 2 reasons. 1, she usually doesn't wake up this early. And 2, she never knocks. Saya moves like steam. Soft. Unobtrusive. Always careful not to press where it might hurt. That's what made her presence in the house so easy, like she belonged here long before she arrived. But this morning, she knocks. Firm. Quiet. Twice. I open the door, still rubbing sleep from my eyes. Sayu. She's already dressed. Her hair tied back, slippers neat, hands folded in front of her. There's a door in my room, she says. I blink. Like a new door. She nods once. It wasn't there yesterday. We walked to her room on the 2nd floor, Unit 2B. Everything is just as it was. Clean. Simple. Her small bookshelf, the folded blanket by the window, her ceramic teacup on the sill. And then there's the wall. The one opposite her bed. Where yesterday, I'm absolutely sure, there was only wallpaper. Now there's a door. Smooth wood. Darker than the rest of the room. No handle. Just a small bronze plate in the center with one word, etched in tiny script. Listen. I approach it slowly. Sayu watches me with that same unreadable calm she always has. But there's a tension in her shoulders today. Like her body already knows what her voice won't say. When did you notice it? I ask. I woke up at dawn, she says. The light was different. The air smelled like old rain. And the door was just there. She nods. I didn't touch it. Did it open? No. I reach out to press my palm against it, half expecting the wood to vanish or shudder. But it's solid, warm, and humming. Not a sound, but a feeling, like a memory that doesn't belong to me, is sitting just behind it, waiting to be heard. System alert. Dormant room discovery. Resident linked expansion. Echo door. Sayu. Emotional type. Quiet restoration. Access locked. Unlock condition. Resident must choose to remember. Reward upon entry. Memory echo plus building bond plus new room function. This door will remain until the resident is ready. I let my hand fall away. Sayu hasn't moved. I look at her carefully. Do you know what's behind it? She hesitates. Then, I think it's part of me. The part one keep forgetting. You don't have to open it. I know. A pause. Then quietly she adds, but I think the house wants me to. Someday. We stand in silence for a moment longer. Then I step back. I'll stay close, I say. Whenever you're ready. She looks at me. Not a smile. Not quite. But something in her softens. Thank you. That afternoon, I find Hoshino in the courtyard, trimming the overgrowth near the back gate. She listens as I explain. Doesn't interrupt. Just nods slowly, like she's known this would happen from the moment Sayu arrived. Echo doors only appear when a resident feels safe enough to start healing, she says. The house doesn't force healing. It invites it. And what's behind them? Hoshino gives me a look that isn't exactly serious, but not joking either. The parts of us we leave behind when surviving becomes more important than remembering. That night, I pass Sayu's door on my way back from the kitchen. It's closed, quiet, but I swear I hear something. A breath, a voice maybe, or a lullaby, half-formed, caught between two lifetimes. The air around the wood shimmers, just slightly, like a ripple in a reflection. I don't touch it. I just whisper, take your time, and walk away. System update. Echo door status. Active. Emotional layer. Unlocked. Passive upgrade. The house now amplifies quiet intentions. Residents are more likely to act on unspoken feelings. New trait. Caretaker's presence. When you are nearby, healing accelerates. Conversations deepen. Area. 10 m radius. Another door in a house that keeps remembering. Another person beginning to open. And me? I don't know what kind of caretaker I am. But for the first time in my life, I think I'm someone worth knocking for. The night begins in silence. It's cool. Mid-autumn chill slipping through the windows. The kind that makes even hardwood floors creak a little louder under bare feet. I'm in the common room again, sipping warm tea with a hint of honey. Notebook open on my lap, pen drifting across the page without much urgency. Just thoughts. Shapes. Half poems I'll probably never read aloud. The others are quiet. Now's upstairs, finishing her spreadsheets. Hoshino's in the kitchen, steeping a new tea blend she refuses to name until she gets the ratio right. Sayu hasn't left her room all day. And Mori? She's playing a single note over and over on the piano in the hallway, like she's waiting for something. At 9:03 p.m., we hear it. A shout, muffled, from the alley outside the main gate. Then a crash. Glass. Metal. Maybe plastic bins. Something shattering. Then footsteps. Running. Then silence. I rise to my feet without thinking. So does Hoshino. Mori stops playing. Something tightens in the air. Not fear, but focus. The house feels it too. I move to the front door and pull it open. The night stares back. Dark. Still. And then, a figure stumbles into the courtyard. She's small. Thin. Wrapped in an oversized jacket, several sizes too big for her. Her sneakers are torn. Her left sleeve is scorched, still faintly smoking. She collapses just past the gate, barely managing to stay upright. For a split second, I just stand there. Then I run. By the time I reach her, she's trying to catch her breath, eyes wild, one hand gripping the edge of the gate like it's the only thing anchoring her to the planet. Her voice is raw when she speaks. I didn't mean to. They said I had to. Then she sees the building behind me and freezes. Like something in the house's silhouette shocks her still. She whispers, "It's real." Then she passes out. System notice. Non-system user detected. Compatibility check. Failed. Emotional state. Overload. Condition. Unsafe. Stabilization required. New mission. Shelter the unlinked. Description. Offer refuge to a visitor with no system and no alignment. Reward. Emotional echo plus resident expansion eligibility plus. I lift her gently. She's light. Frighteningly so. Clothes damp with sweat, soot, and something sharper. Blood? No, just ash. Hoshino meets me at the door without a word, already preparing the small side room near the entryway, one we haven't used yet. Mori follows behind us, silent, holding a towel and a clean shirt from somewhere. Sayu appears from upstairs, eyes wide. She doesn't speak, just places a bottle of water near the bedside, then fades back into the shadows like the house itself. We lay the girl down. Hoshino presses her fingers to the girl's wrist. Her pulse is fast, she murmurs. But steady. I sit beside the bed. She said something. Before she passed out. What? That it was real. Like she wasn't sure we existed. She wakes up an hour later. I'm still there. The others have drifted back into their rooms, though I feel them lingering, just beyond walls and doors and staircases. The house feels watchful. The girl blinks, then sits up fast, flinching like she's expecting someone to grab her. Hey, it's okay, I say quickly, raising my hands. You're safe. She looks around, taking in the room. Then me. Her voice is hoarse. Where am I? The house of second mornings. She laughs, a short, sharp breath like she's about to cry. You're serious. I am. She rubs her hands together. They're scraped raw, nails chipped. I thought it was a rumor, a hallucination, some fantasy that lonely people made up in back alleys. You're not hallucinating. She meets my gaze, hard and tired. You don't glow. You don't have a system halo. You're just a guy. I nod. Sometimes that's enough. She stares at me for a long time. Then, can I stay? I nod once. As long as you need. System event complete. Mission, shelter the unlinked. Status, success. Visitor added, unknown name. Condition, stabilizing. Trait gained. The house now accepts the unbound. Future residents do not need systems to enter. A new narrative path has opened. She doesn't give me her name that night. She doesn't have to. The house already knows her rhythm. And maybe that's enough, for now. She's still asleep when I wake up the next morning. The guest room, small, tucked near the front entryway, has a quietness to it. The kind of silence that feels like it's listening. The sheets are still wrinkled from when we laid her down. Her coat, now dry, hangs on a hook beside the door. Her shoes sit neatly by the wall. I check her pulse gently. Still strong. Her breathing, slow, calm, like she's been carrying exhaustion for miles. And the house is the first place that let her set it down. I don't wake her. I just leave a folded towel, a change of clothes now brought down this morning, and a small thermos of miso soup that Hoshino swears is medicinal even though it's probably just full of seaweed. Then I head to the common room. It's empty. The morning light filters through the window in thin golden threads, catching dust in the air that swirls like old dreams. The piano keys are uncovered. The folded crane still sits on the table. Everything is exactly as it should be, until I see the note, folded in half, set carefully beside the empty teacup someone must have left out earlier. No envelope, no name, just one line written on the back of a torn envelope in scratchy black ink. Don't try to find out who I am. If they find me, I'll disappear again. Thank you for the quiet. I read it 3 times. Then again. The handwriting's uneven, not rushed but tired. Like every letter took effort. Every word was balanced between trust and fear. I sit down on the couch and hold the note in my hands. I don't know her name. I don't know what she ran from, or who they are. But I know this. She stayed long enough to thank the house. which means she felt it. The warmth, the stillness, the way the air here doesn't just move, it accepts. System update. Unlinked status. In progress. Unknown resident identified. Alias pending. Memory fragment detected. Suppressed. Emotional tag. Survivor, wary. Passive change. Hidden rooms may now appear. Note: this building remembers more when shared with those who forget themselves. The words hang in my vision for a few seconds longer than usual. Then fade. The quiet returns. And I'm left with a note in my hand from a girl who refuses to be found. Later, Sayu finds me by the garden gate, just standing there with my hands in my pockets, staring at the breeze swaying the trees. She doesn't say anything. She just stands beside me, close but not touching. Finally, I ask, "Do you think people come here because the house calls them?" Sayu tilts her head. Or maybe it just leaves the door open long enough for them to find it. Hoshino makes extra tea that night. Mori plays 2 chords and stops, like she can feel something new growing in the walls. Now rewrites the resident board on the first floor. There's no name in the last box, just a small post-it with 1 word. Guest. She draws a little star beside it. Not for decoration, for protection. I don't search her name. I don't look her up through system networks or Sapphire Club records. I let her remain a question, because sometimes questions are safer than answers. And for now, she's here. That's enough. It's now who finds it. At first, she thinks it's just a warped blueprint. She's been spending more time in the back office lately, organizing old ledgers and handwritten floor plans, sometimes grumbling under her breath about dust and preposterous architectural laziness. So when she bursts into the common room around noon, hair up, sleeves rolled, eyes wide, I expect her to yell about structural hazards or budget math. Not this. There's a hallway on the first floor that doesn't exist. I blink up from the sketch I've been doodling on a napkin. "What? Come with me," she says. "It'll make more sense when you see it." She leads me down past room 1A and 1B, where Hoshino's tea cabinet hums faintly with her latest experiment, past the unused storage closet and the service elevator shaft that hasn't worked since before I arrived. And then she stops, points. There. I frown, because there's a hallway, not a doorway, not a weird gap in the wall, an actual, tiled hallway, stretching about 5 meters long before curving left. Dim lights, a brass wall sconce, no dust, no cobwebs, just hallway, like it's always been there, like it's meant to be there. But I've walked this corridor a dozen times. It was never here. I compared every layout. Now says quietly. Old plans, Hoshino's hand-drawns, even the blueprint you got from the system. This isn't on any of them. I take a cautious step forward. No system panel appears. No mission prompt. No warnings. Just the soft hum of lights and the whisper of quiet air, gently flowing from the bend in the hallway. It doesn't feel dangerous, but does feel different. I glance back at now. "You sure this wasn't just..." "Don't gaslight the building," she deadpans. "It's literally watching us." Fair point. We follow the hallway in silence. The curve leads to a single door. Dark wood. No label. No handle. Just a rectangular indent at eye level. Like it's waiting for something to be slotted in. It doesn't glow. It doesn't react. It just waits. System alert. Unregistered room detected. This room is not bound to the system's architecture. Entry restricted. Access condition. Unknown. Recommendation. Do not attempt forced entry. Caution. Emotional feedback may destabilize surrounding spaces. Now reads the system panel over my shoulder. So we're not opening it. No. Cool. We stare at it anyway. And I realize something strange. The air here isn't just still, it's silent. Even Mori's humming doesn't reach this far. The house feels muted here, like this part of it forgot how to breathe. We leave without touching the door. But that night, I write a note. Not for the others. For the house. Just a folded sheet of paper I slip into the mail slot by the front desk. "I saw the room you didn't want us to find. I won't push. But when you're ready, let me in the right way. Kaido." Passive trait engaged. Caretaker's presence. Emotional echoes around the unregistered hallway now stabilize. You may hear a whisper if the building answers. That night, I sit in the common room. The crane is still on the table. The lights are low. I close my eyes, and I swear I hear something from down the hall. Not a voice. Not music. Just a small, slow inhale. Like the house is remembering something it left buried and wondering if it's finally time to speak. It starts just after midnight. The house is asleep. Not the people. Some are still awake. I can hear soft footsteps upstairs. Now, rearranging something in the storeroom. Mori playing a single note again and again like she's tuning the silence itself. But the house is quiet, resting, listening inward. And that's when it speaks. Not loudly, not in words, just a breath. My own name, woven into a whisper and left drifting through the second-floor hallway. Kaido. I freeze. Not out of fear. Not anymore. I've felt the house shift. I've heard its silences. I've seen it fold time and memory into spaces that weren't there the day before. But this is different. This time, it's talking to me. I follow the sound down the hallway. Not quickly. Not eagerly. Just gently. Like answering a friend who doesn't know how to ask for help out loud. The whisper doesn't repeat. It doesn't guide me. But somehow, my feet know where to go. Through the hallway past Sayu's room, where her door remains closed. Past the small bookshelf now built by hand. Down the stairs, to the first floor, to the curve in the hallway, to the door that shouldn't be there. Still no handle. Still no glow. Still waiting. I sit on the floor in front of it. Not to open it. Just to be near it. I lean my back against the wall and let the quiet settle around me. The house hums faintly beneath my palms. Not with sound, but with presence. Like a current just under the skin of the world. And then, the whisper again. Do you remember? System response initiated. Echo thread detected. Location. Unregistered hallway. Status. Dormant connection reactivated. Emotional layer. Unresolved. Thread origin. Unknown. Pre-system architecture. Passive trait activated. Caretaker's ear. Emotional threads may now surface as fragmented memory. A flicker passes through my vision. Not like a system panel. More like a memory that doesn't belong to me. Playing across the back of my eyes like a forgotten dream. A hallway like this. Dustier. Darker. Candlelight flickering against old wallpaper. Laughter just out of reach. A door slamming. Someone crying in the next room. The sound of hands clenching against wood. Then, a voice. Young. Familiar. Mine? It's okay. If no one else remembers, I will. Then the vision fades. I'm back in the hallway. Breathing like I just surfaced from deep water. And the door? Still closed. Still silent. But no longer hiding. I don't tell anyone right away. Not now. Not Hoshino. Not even Sayu, whose door glowed faintly last night for the first time since her echo door appeared. Because some things aren't warnings. Some things are invitations. Ones that need patience. Ones that arrive in whispers. That morning, I find a folded piece of paper on the front desk. Not from a resident. Not in anyone's handwriting I know. Just a faded, water-stained note in a script that looks a little like mine, but from a time I've never lived. You kept your promise. You remembered. Come back when you're ready to see who you were. Building bond level +1. The house trusts you with a memory not bound by the system. New passive. Echo keeper. Forgotten fragments may surface around you. You are now considered a memory node. System node. Some caretakers inherit more than walls. That night, I sit alone in the hallway again. Just me, the door, and the whisper of something old waiting to be whole again. And I say it softly, not to the building, but to whatever part of it remembers me. I'll come back. I wake to humming, not the distant kind, the kind I've grown used to hearing drift down from the third floor like a lullaby stitched into the bones of the house. This time it's close. Too close. I sit up. Mori is standing in my doorway, barefoot, wrapped in a long cream sweater, sleeves half covering her hands. Her hair hangs over her shoulder like a curtain, still damp from the mist that clings to the early hours. She's humming something soft and minor. 5 notes, descending. Then 5 again, ascending, like a message being sent back and forth between invisible walls. Mori, she stops humming, but she doesn't speak. Instead, she tilts her head and walks away. I follow, half asleep, barefoot. She moves slowly, never looking back, as if confident I'll come with her. Through the hallway, past the folded crane in the common room, through a house still holding its breath. She doesn't take me to the hallway with the unregistered door. She leads me up instead, to the roof. The city beyond the house is still dim, not yet awake. Not fully asleep. That strange twilight of pre-dawn where time folds on itself, and everything feels like a memory you haven't had yet. Mori walks to the edge, rests her palms on the low concrete wall, and looks out over Minato Core's glittering skyline. Quiet, cool, distant. I step beside her, still waiting for words, still unsure if any will come. Finally, after 5 full minutes of silence, she speaks. Something's opening. I glance at her. You mean the door downstairs? No. She looks at me, eyes unfocused but steady. You. Passive trait, caretaker's ear. Emotional signal detected. Protective anxiety. Source, Mori. This resident cannot express concern directly. Humming carries encoded emotion. Translating. He's walking closer to the edge. Not lost, but leaning. Mori pulls a folded note from her sweater and hands it to me. I open it. Inside, in the same slanted, delicate script as the one she left with her origami crane. The house is responding to you because you listen, but places that remember also grieve. Asterisk. Be careful when you enter where memory runs deepest. We want you to stay, even if you start remembering too much. I lower the note. I didn't ask for this. I know, she says softly, but you still answer. The wind picks up. Below us, the streetlights blink. Somewhere far off, a train whistles low and lonesome. I glance at Mori again. She's humming. Not the 5-note phrase this time. A new one. 7 notes. Low to high. A simple melody that holds something like warmth, something close to reassurance. I don't recognize it, but it feels familiar. Like something I once heard in a dream I don't remember. Are you scared? I ask her. Mori stops humming, just long enough to reply. I don't remember how to be scared, she says. Then, I remember how to stay. We don't say anything after that. Just 2 people standing at the edge of a roof. The city still sleeping. The house still breathing. And something beneath all of it stirring. Building bond update. Resident link. Mori, strengthened. Emotional tier, unlocked. Guardian thread. Passive gained. Memory echo. Sensitivity. When nearby, Mori will detect hidden or suppressed emotional fragments. Unlock path progressed. The house is forgotten room. Echo key fragment. 1 of 3. The sun crests the horizon. Orange light spills between the buildings. And in that moment, for just a second, the humming stops. I look at Mori. She smiles just faintly, then turns and walks back inside. I find it in the common room, just after breakfast. Not in a rush. Not hidden. Just sitting there on the table beside the folded origami crane, tucked between a chipped mug and a half-eaten slice of melon bread someone forgot to finish. It's folded in half. Cream paper, slightly creased at the corners. Smells faintly of dust and engine oil, like it's been carried for a long time in a too small pocket. I unfold it carefully. It's a map, hand-drawn, sharp black pen strokes, thin and clean. Ink bleeds slightly at the edges from where the paper's been handled over and over. And overlaid across the streets of Minato Core is something wrong, something old. A grid that doesn't match the modern layout. Winding paths where straight roads should be. Landmarks no longer standing. A circular icon drawn in faded red ink near the edge of the page. No key, no legend, just a tiny note scribbled beneath the mark. This is where they erased it. If you find it, don't go alone. I sit back, breath catching in my throat. The streets on this map twist and curve around a part of the city labeled in letters so faint I almost miss them. Azure Hollow. But that district doesn't exist anymore. I've lived in Minato Core my whole life. Studied its layout. Rode its trams. I know the city. There's no Azure Hollow. Not in the guidebooks. Not on digital maps. Not even in the archives Bianca sent me when I first got invited to the Sapphire Club. And yet, here it is. Drawn by a girl with no system. A girl who ran from something. A girl who, despite never giving her name, wants someone to find what she left behind. System notification. Unregistered territory detected. Azure Hollow suppressed. Historical alignment. Erased memory zone. Access. Forbidden via standard transport. Special condition. Must be guided by a resident of the house. Resident compatibility. Unknown girl. 89%. Potential unlocked. Forgotten node. Building thread convergence. Pending. I refold the map and tuck into my jacket. I know what this is. Not an invitation. A warning. And maybe a tether. That afternoon, I find her in the hallway. The unnamed girl. She's standing by the window on the second floor, watching the wind sway the ivy crawling up the courtyard wall. Her hair's down today. Her jacket's gone. Just a long-sleeved shirt and slippers that don't quite fit. She doesn't flinch when I step beside her. You left a map, I say quietly. She nods. Do you want me to find what's there? She doesn't look at me, but her voice, soft and hoarse, answers like she's been waiting for me to ask. I want someone to remember it exists. A beat. Then, but I'm not ready to go back. I nod. I won't force you. She finally turns to me. Her eyes, dark, tired, but sharp beneath it all. If you follow it, she says, don't bring light. It won't work there. I pause. Then what should I bring? She hesitates. Then whispers. Regret. Mission unlocked. Optional quest thread. Echo hunt. Azure Hollow. Objective. Navigate the erased zone using the girl's map. Requirements. Memory sensitivity. Emotional anchor. House bond. Warnings. Forgotten zones may not follow time-space laws. Reward. Forgotten node recovery plus house expansion plus. Status. Dormant. Awaiting activation by the caretaker's will. That night, I lay the map on the floor of my room. Candlelight flickers over the lines. The paper twitches once in the breeze. And I realize something is pulling me toward that erased place. Not a system. Not a mission. Just the weight of something left undone. And the unspoken promise this house seems determined to keep. Nothing stays forgotten forever. I find her before the sun. She's curled up on her futon, the blanket tucked beneath her chin, face half buried in the sleeve of her cardigan. Her breathing is steady, soft, like a quiet tide against the shore. But the door behind her, the echo door, it's open. Just a crack. Not wide enough to pass through. Not even wide enough to see what's on the other side. But enough to let something through. Light, pale and flickering, like a candle caught in rain. It spills across the floor in a narrow line that stops exactly at the edge of her futon, like it knows not to wake her. Echo event detected. Resident, Sayu. Echo door status. Active. Condition. Dreaming. Memory shift in progress. Emotional layer. Longing withheld. The door has responded to trust. Do not disturb the resident. Observing is permitted. Passive aura shift. This room now encourages gentle release of suppressed emotions. I don't move. I just sit on the edge of the doorway, cross-legged on the floor, and watch her sleep in the glow of her own dream. And somehow I feel it. Not her thoughts exactly, but the weight of them. Something heavy but clean. The kind of sadness that's been held too long. Not out of pride, but because it didn't know where to go. A memory that wants to be let go, but doesn't want to be forgotten. Sayu twitches once, barely. Then her hand, still asleep, reaches toward the light. Not touching it, just resting near it, like she knows something familiar is there. A breeze moves through the room that shouldn't be there. No window open. No draft. Just the house breathing out a sigh it's held since the night she arrived. Later, I make tea. Hoshino joins me, unprompted. She takes one look at me, then the second cup, and says, "You saw something." Sayu's door opened. She blinks slowly, then nods. How much? An inch. Maybe two. And there was light. Hoshino stirs her tea once, twice. That's rare. Rare how? Most echo doors only open when the resident is awake, when they're ready. But if hers open while dreaming. She pauses, considering. It means her memory is finally brave enough to knock. Sayu wakes late that morning. I don't bring it up. She doesn't mention the door. But when she joins us in the common room, something's changed. Her hair is loose. She sits near the window. And for the first time since she moved in, she hums. It's a soft melody, barely more than breath. Not a song. Not quite. But enough to make Mori look up from her usual piano routine, blink once, and mirror the notes. They hum in harmony for exactly 8 seconds. Then Sayu stops. Mori nods once. Like approval. Like understanding. And Sayu, stunned by her own sound, gives the smallest laugh I've ever heard. Then, sorry, she murmurs. I don't usually. She trails off. It's okay, I say. But she's not looking for permission. She's just learning to let it out. Echo door progression. 42%. Passive unlocked. Gentle unfolding. Sayu's presence now passively comforts new arrivals. Room trait. Emotional flow activated. Feelings in this space now surface easier, without pressure. Reward pending. When the echo door fully opens, a suppressed memory will reshape the house. That evening, Sayu stands at the foot of the hallway and looks toward her door. Still cracked. Still glowing. She says nothing, just places one hand over her heart and bows, just slightly, toward the light. Not afraid. Not yet ready. But almost. Almost. I find her on the rooftop just after midnight. She's sitting on the edge, feet dangling over the side, hoodie sleeves pulled over her hands, her back to the city. The wind moves her hair gently. The sky above us is soft and cloudless, full of stars you can only see from this district, where the lights are quiet and the night doesn't feel like it's trying to prove anything. She doesn't look at me when I arrive, doesn't flinch. She just says, "Do you ever get the feeling the sky is too honest?" I sit beside her, carefully, quietly. "You mean, it doesn't lie about how small we are?" She gives the ghost of a smile. Something like that. We sit in silence for a while. Not uncomfortable. Not curious. Just still. The house is quiet beneath us. Breathing slow. Content. The kind of stillness that happens when everyone inside is sleeping with both eyes closed for the first time in a long time. I glance at her. The stars paint soft shadows across her face. She's bruised under the eyes, tired in the shoulders, but her hands don't shake tonight. Couldn't sleep. I ask. She shrugs. Didn't want to dream. A pause. Then, I used to love the stars. Before. Before what? She doesn't answer. Not with words. Passive trait, caretaker's ear. Emotional signal detected. Delayed grief, contained panic. Source, unnamed resident. Thread hint. She held too much for someone with nowhere to put it. Passive effect triggered. Caretaker's presence. Emotional flow encouraged. I had a brother, she says, after a long silence. The words land gently between us, like a falling leaf. I don't know if he's alive. I think he is. But we got split up. Back when the system started sorting people. Before Sapphire, before the club, before the city started pretending this was all normal. Her voice is low, but steady. He didn't get one. I did. That surprises me. I glance at her again. You had a system? Had, she says. Past tense. Ow, they took it. She taps her chest. Once. Over her heart. The people who can do that. The ones nobody talks about. System alert. External event flagged. Unauthorized system severance detected. Source unknown. Classification. System theft/suppression. Status, archived. Target, unknown. This event predates your caretaker registration. No action required. But memory echoes may surface if resident remains. I ran, she continues. Not because I was scared, but because I didn't want to become like them. Like who? The ones who stopped feeling when they lost their system. Or the ones who started feeding off the ones who still had theirs. Her voice drops to a whisper. They call it siphoning. I exhale slowly, not out of disbelief, but because this forgotten part of the world is starting to come into focus. Not with headlines, not with announcements, but with people like her. People the systems couldn't label. I'm not staying forever, she says suddenly. The words feel rehearsed, like she's been trying to work up to them all night. I'll help if I can, but this place, it's too gentle for me. Maybe that's why you need it, I say. She finally looks at me, really looks. And for the first time, I see something in her eyes that isn't pain or fear or calculation. Justic, do you want me to name you? I ask gently. She hesitates, then shakes her head. No, she whispers. Not yet. I'll wait. You always do. Resident bond strengthened. Unnamed girl. Emotional status. Stabilized. Temporary. System thread status. Fragment detected. Reward. Memory echo. 1 of 3. A new system thread may awaken if emotional integrity is restored. She lies back on the rooftop, hands folded over her stomach, eyes on the stars. And after a long, long moment, she murmurs, "If you go to Azure Hollow and you find my brother, tell him I still remember the sky." Then she closes her eyes, and the house listens. Quiet, warm, holding her like it's been waiting years to give her one good night of sleep. It starts with the smell of toast. Not the instant kind from plastic-wrapped convenience store packs. Real toast. Warm, crisp, buttered, touched with cinnamon. I step into the common room and freeze. Sai is already there, sleeves rolled up, hair tied back, a small apron dusted with flour. She's plating a simple breakfast: scrambled eggs, sliced fruit, miso soup in steaming bowls, and thick slices of golden toast stacked like soft bricks. Now leans against the counter, half asleep, but nodding like she approves. Hoshino sits at the table already, sipping tea and pretending she's not smiling behind the rim of her cup. Mori? She's standing by the piano, just watching, not humming, just listening. And the unnamed girl? She's in the corner, wrapped in her hoodie, feet bare on the polished floor, arms folded across her chest, watching everything with quiet disbelief, like she doesn't understand how all of this fits into the same morning. I step inside, still in yesterday's shirt, still rubbing sleep from my eyes. Sayu glances at me. I hope it's okay, she says gently. The house felt hungry today. I didn't know buildings got cravings. She shrugs, smiling. Maybe it just needed something warm. System notice. Emotional pulse detected. Communal presence, stabilizing. Milestone. All current residents present and accounted for. Trait unlocked. Shared hearth. When all bonded residents share a space, emotional fatigue is reduced by 20%. Bonus. Next passive memory thread may emerge. We eat together. It's the first time we all sit at the same table. No one talks much at first. Not because there's tension, just peace. The kind you don't want to break with noise. Now eventually complains about the paperwork backlog she's building for herself. Hoshino offers a recipe critique that sounds more like a haiku. Mori taps her fork against the edge of her bowl 3 times, perfectly timed, like she's signaling approval in code. Sayo laughs softly at something, now mutters. And the unnamed girl? She eats in silence. But she doesn't leave. That's new. Later, I catch her in the hallway. She leans against the wall near the staircase, watching the light spill through the window, hands tucked into the sleeves of a fresh hoodie now lent her. She doesn't meet my eyes when she speaks. Breakfast felt dangerous. I blink. Dangerous. Because I liked it, she says. And I'm not sure I know how to want something that's allowed to stay. I don't say anything at first. Then, you don't have to decide that today. She looks up, just a little. The shadow of something not quite smile flickers on her lips. I didn't say I was leaving. Building bond level +1. Emotional harmony achieved. Temporary. New passive. Heartbeat rooms. When residents spend meaningful time in common spaces, small changes occur in decor based on emotional memory. Effect. The common room now adjusts slightly with each shared moment. Objects may appear. Light may change. Observation. The house is learning to reflect you. Later that afternoon, I noticed the painting. I swear it wasn't there before. Small, hanging above the table. A watercolor landscape of a field under a warm pink sky. Soft clouds. A windmill in the corner. Something safe. I ask everyone. No one claims it. Mori hums once when I point at it. A single note. Bright. For one whole day, the house feels full. Not just occupied. Not just warm. But held. Like the past isn't chasing anyone. Like the future hasn't called yet. Just this one still moment where people sit and laugh and live together without needing to be fixed. That night, as I walk the halls, checking lights, touching doors, I whisper something I didn't expect to say aloud. Thank you. And the house, just this once, responds. Not with a message. Not with a system panel. Just a soft breeze through the hallway. Like a breath across my shoulder. Like a home exhaling. It arrives in the early afternoon. A single white envelope. Sealed in pale silver wax. Tucked into the old brass mailbox by the front door, as if it had been there all along, waiting for someone to notice. But no one saw it delivered. Not now, who was organizing room, keys downstairs. Not Sayu, who'd just returned from the market with a paper bag full of plums. Not even the house, which usually whispers when something changes. No one saw it arrive. But we all see it now. I unfold the envelope slowly. The seal bears the symbol I've only seen twice. The Sapphire Club, the elite organization behind the systems. The ones who monitor holders, assign influence territories, and observe anomalies like me. I expected this letter eventually. Just not like this. Because the name printed on the front isn't mine. It's all of ours. To the current residents of the House of Second Mornings. Minato Core, Sector 4, Unregistered Zone B. Adjusted Node 008. That last part, adjusted node, makes Hoshino flinch when she reads it. Now frowns. They classify the house. Sayu's fingers tighten around the fabric of her skirt. What does that mean? I don't answer right away, because I don't know yet. The letter is short, clean, cold. Residents of the House of Second Mornings. You are residing in an unregistered structure now recognized as a living resonance node. Due to recent emotional stabilization, external echo activity, and anomalies linked to system-detached individuals, your location has been flagged for full review. An evaluation team will arrive in 72 hours. You are not required to vacate. However, be advised that failure to cooperate may result in system isolation or nullification of territory effects. All residents will be included in the observation. BG. Sapphire Club, District Liaison. We read in silence. Twice. Then again. The unnamed girl is the first to speak. Her voice is flat. Quiet. I don't want to be seen by them. Mori tilts her head. Says nothing. Hums a low note under her breath that shivers against the window glass. Sayu reaches for the letter. Runs her fingers over the ink. Her eyes flick toward me. We're a threat to them now. Not a threat. Hoshino says calmly. An outlier. Same thing in system terms. Now mutters. System alert. External evaluation triggered. Event type. Sapphire Club tier observation. Status. Pending. Time remaining. 71 hours, 48 minutes, and 36 seconds. All building traits will remain active. Residents may choose to participate or withhold. Caution. Emotional coherence will affect judgment. The letter lies on the table like a weight no one asked for. And suddenly, the house feels aware of itself, like it knows it's being watched. That evening, I sit on the steps outside the house. Just me, the dusk, and the faint sound of the city breathing. I don't feel scared. Not yet. But I do feel something deeper. Protective. Because this place isn't just mine anymore. It's ours. And whoever comes through that gate in 72 hours, they're not just observing a building. They're stepping into a home that chose us. A place that remembers. And we won't let them rewrite what it's become. Everyone handles it differently. Now disappears in a logistics mode. She pulls out a folder labeled Emergency Protocols, Emotional plus Legal. Spreads half the house's documents across the common room table, and starts muttering about resident records, zoning laws, and how to accidentally misplace certain dates without technically lying. Sayu cleans, not in a stressed, frantic way, just quietly. She dusts corners no one's touched in months, opens every window in the west hallway, and leaves fresh flowers, tiny white lilies, in 3 of the common rooms. Hoshino brews something strong, bitter, and supposedly calming. She doesn't drink any herself. The unnamed girl doesn't say anything, but she starts sleeping closer to the center of the house, as if putting walls behind her is the only defense she has left. I try to act like I'm calm. I'm not. The letter is folded in my pocket. Heavy. Not because of what it says, but because of what it doesn't. What happens if we fail? Then there's Mori. She doesn't ask questions, doesn't prepare. She just vanishes for most of the day. Then, near dusk, I find her in the front hallway. She's standing on a short wooden stool, arms raised, quietly tying a wind chime to the beam, just above the entrance to the second floor. It's small, silver. 5 thin rods arranged in a tight circle, with a single pale blue crystal suspended in the center. It doesn't ring, not even when she steps down and the air shifts. Where did you get that? I asked. She doesn't answer, just steps aside, gives me a tiny nod, and walks away. That night, as the house settles into stillness, the wind picks up outside. Barely a breeze. Not enough to rattle the windows, but just enough to touch the chime. It rings once. High, clear, soft. And somehow, it's not sound I hear. It's a feeling. System event. Emotional ward activated. Resident. Mori. Item. Spirit chime. Bound object. Effect. Emotional shielding for inner spaces. Visiting entities will perceive the house at 30% emotional clarity unless invited deeper. Passive unlocked. Harmonized entry. Only those the house accepts will feel its true resonance. Bonus, trusting action detected, building bond +1. I return to the hallway at midnight. The wind chime doesn't move, not even when I exhale beside it, but something in the walls feels stronger, anchored, like the house now has a voice of its own, even if it still prefers to speak in silence. The next morning, now hangs a hand-painted wooden plaque near the entry. 3 characters, written in clean strokes. Second morning, Sayu places a single cup of tea on the window ledge, facing outward. No saucer, no cover, a quiet offering for whoever's watching. Hoshino sharpens the corners of her voice. And the unnamed girl? She gives me a small list. 3 places in the city. 2 names. No instructions. Just a whisper, in case they try to say I don't exist. They're not fighting, not running, just being ready, like they've all quietly decided. If this is our home, then we don't apologize for it. Time until inspection. 47 hours, 12 minutes, and 10 seconds. Observation level. Active. Current house emotional field. Stable. Passive effect gained. Home threshold. Visitors will not pass beyond public rooms unless emotionally attuned or granted trust. That night, the wind chime rings again. Once, then silence. But the hallway feels full of something unspoken. And I realize, we're not preparing for a fight. We're preparing to be seen. They arrive just after noon. No noise. No warning. Just 3 people standing beyond the front gate, as if they'd always been there. The first is a tall woman in an obsidian coat. Straight-backed, precision-cut hair. Slate-gray eyes that flick once across the courtyard and take in everything. Her name is Mireille, and I know it before she says it. The system tells me. Identified. Mireille, Sapphire Club, Tier 2 Observer. Emotional signature. Controlled/focused. Affiliation. Evaluation Branch. Resonance Oversight Division. The second is younger. A man with soft features and round glasses that fog slightly in the late summer heat. His suit's too formal for the neighborhood, and he holds a tablet like it might break if he breathes too hard. He's the assistant. Name, Jun Kaido. Yes, really. We stare at each other for half a second longer than we should. Kaido. He blinks. Oh, me too. Mireille doesn't blink at all. The third doesn't speak. A tall man in a muted cloak. No ID tag. No visible tech. Just a thin scarf around his neck and the quiet stillness of someone who watches everything and expects nothing to surprise him. The system doesn't name him. Only marks. Unregistered entity. Observation level. Passive. Emotional field. Veiled. Note. Unknown role. Proceed with caution. They don't knock. They wait. Not impatiently. Not aggressively. Just expectantly. I open the gate. Mireille nods. We're here for the house. I'm aware. She hands me a single, clear folder. Inside, nothing but a formal authorization slip, 3 blank name tags, and a tiny silver pin bearing the symbol. Observation begins now, she says. Do I need to sign anything? No. Jun replies quickly, tapping something on his tablet. You already did. I did. Mireille lifts an eyebrow. You agreed when you kept the letter. Right. They step into the courtyard. And for a moment, the house exhales. Not in fear. In assessment. I can feel it. The walls humming. The floors adjusting beneath polished shoes. The wind chime doesn't move. But I hear something inside the walls. A single low chord. Like a key turning. Like a memory watching. Observation status. Active. Visitors have entered the threshold. Emotional clarity. 30%. Harmonized entry in effect. Building awareness. Testing. Responses will be measured. Authenticity preferred. Timer paused. Evaluation clock frozen while within residence. Sayu is waiting in the common room. Hoshino prepares extra tea. Effortlessly calm. Now's clipboard is visible, but she's not holding it. The unnamed girl is nowhere to be seen. Mori? Mori stands in the stairwell, holding a piece of string between her fingers, as if threading time itself. None of us speak first. We wait. Let them move. Let them see. Jun looks around, blinking slowly. This is not what I expected. It rarely is, Hoshino murmurs. Mireille doesn't sit, doesn't drink the tea. She steps to the center of the common room and closes her eyes. And the air shifts. Very slightly. like something invisible has entered with her. She opens her eyes. The house is active. Obviously. I say, before I can stop myself. She looks at me. Not annoyed. Not amused. Just studying. You're not system trained, she says. No. You're not sapphire aligned. No. You're not afraid. I shrug. Should I be? She doesn't answer. Just nods once, as if she's noted something. The unnamed man with the scarf walks toward the folded crane on the table. Stops 2 feet away. And bows. Low. Formal. The kind of bow you give shrine. Then he turns. And walks upstairs. No one stops him. No one speaks. Mori watches him pass with eyes like still water. She doesn't hum. But the wind chime rings once. Echo interaction detected. Visitor has acknowledged bound object. Passive reading. Respectful. House response. Neutral. Status. Safe for now. The visitors stay an hour. They touch nothing. Ask almost nothing. Observe everything. Then Mireille turns to me. We'll return tomorrow. That's it. For now. She glances once toward Sayu. Then, toward the hallway where the unnamed girl has not emerged. We are not here to challenge. Only to see. I nod. But I don't believe her. And I don't think the house does either. As they leave, the scarf man turns back once. Looks at me. Then to the rooftop. Then he smiles, barely. And mouths something I almost don't catch. Your house is awake. Then he's gone. Observation, Phase 1, complete. Club evaluation, resumes tomorrow. Emotional threads detected. New reaction patterns forming. Caution. Resonance may deepen faster under scrutiny. That night, the wind chime rings 3 times. Even though there's no wind. And I feel something shift. Not in fear. In readiness. Like the house is gathering itself. Quietly. Deliberately. Like something old and sacred and deeply human is preparing to speak. Mireille returns alone. Just after sunrise. No assistant. No scarf stranger. No clipboard. Just her coat, and the eyes of someone trained to see things that don't want to be seen. She doesn't knock. She waits by the gate again, like yesterday. So I go out to meet her. She looks tired. Not physically, but in the way people look when the numbers don't quite match the story they were told. I want to walk the house, she says simply. Alone. No. With you. I hesitate. Not because I don't trust her, but because I'm not sure the house does. Still, I nod. She steps in, and the gate swings shut behind her without a sound. System update. Observation Phase 2. Active. Visitor status. Trusted pending. Emotional alignment. Measured curiosity. The house is watching. We start on the first floor. She pauses at the library nook, newly built by now last week, and brushes her hand across the shelf. These books weren't here in the original listing. The house added shelves. Now filled them in. Voluntarily. Yeah, that's what people do when they feel safe. She doesn't respond, but I see her hand hover near one book in particular. How to repair wooden things that still breathe. She doesn't take it, just walks on. Next, the common room. She studies the origami crane, the chime above the stairwell, the mismatched teacups. She doesn't ask about the scent in the air, black tea and rice porridge, Hoshino's quiet welcome. She just listens. Then she asks, softly, was this space designed? No, I say. It just became. Emotional pulse detected. Visitor response. Internal disorientation. System note. Emotional spaces without function-based, design, disrupt, analytical framing. Subject is encountering the gap between intention and resonance. We pause outside Sayu's door. It's closed, but her echo door glows faintly beneath it. Mireille stares at the light seeping through the floorboards. She's beginning to remember. I say, what happens when she finishes? She decides what to do with what she finds. And if it breaks her, I don't answer right away. Then I look Mireille in the eye. Then we sit with her, until she doesn't feel broken anymore. We step upstairs. She pauses in the hallway and breathes in, just once. Your building holds no fear. Should it? Most buildings with system interference carry echoes of failure. Pain. Trauma. She glances around. Yours hums in a major key. Mori, I say. She hums first. The house follows. And the others? They don't hum, but they stay. That seems to shake her more than it should. At the rooftop, she stands at the edge. The wind brushes her coat. She looks down at the street, still quiet, still sleepy, and back at the door behind her. You didn't build this, she says softly. No. You didn't choose it. No. But you care for it. I do. She turns, finally faces me, then asks the question I think she's been holding since she walked in. Why does the house respond to you? I don't have a smart answer, or a technical one, so I just say, because I listen. She studies me, then closes her eyes. The wind moves past us again, and in that moment, the house responds, not with creaks, not with wind, not even with light, but with something that feels like warmth. Not physical, emotional, like a quiet presence settling in the bones of the building. A stillness that isn't empty, a silence that means you're safe here. House response, nonverbal acknowledgement. Visitor classification updated, aware. Emotional trust, 14%. Observation threshold, surpassed. Note, the house has chosen to speak in its own way. Further observation will yield no new data unless emotional state is shifted. Mireille opens her eyes and says, I've never met a house that could say enough without speaking. Then, without another word, she descends the stairs and walks out the front door. No pause, no clipboard, just a quiet understanding that the house had shown her everything it was willing to share. And nothing more. Observation Phase 2, complete. Pending review, final report. Building bond +1. Passive trigger unlocked. Emotional silence. When visitors attempt to assess the house logically, resonance shifts into stillness. Trait acquired. Sanctuary memory. The house will now remember quiet moments as defense. That evening, I sit in the common room with the residents. Sayu places a candle on the windowsill, now passes out mugs of warm citrus tea. Mori hums 3 notes in a new key. And the unnamed girl, she watches us, quiet, almost smiling, and whispers, they didn't see anything, did they? I shake my head. No, they felt it. It happens overnight. No fanfare, no system alert. Just 2 doors, new, but old in feeling, appearing like they've always been part of the house, finally remembered after long forgetting. One on the first floor, between the laundry nook and the underused piano hallway. The other in the north wing, where no one's ever really gone. Not because we were told not to, but because it never felt finished. Now, their doors, unlabeled, closed. Still, I wake to the feeling of being watched, but not in fear. Like something gentle was nearby, while I slept. Like the house itself was leaning in, whispering, there's more. I sit up. The air feels slow, heavy in a comforting way, like fog across memory. Outside my room, the hall is quiet, but I can feel the shift. The house is dreaming. System message, house dream, phase initiated. Echo condition, stable resonance. 2 memory doors have emerged. Entry not yet possible. Condition to unlock. Residents must approach them without expectation. Note, the house will not open what you chase, but it may reveal what you accept. At breakfast, no one mentions the new doors, but we all know. Sayu stirs her tea slower than usual. Hoshino keeps glancing toward the north wing. Now folds her napkin perfectly 3 times, then unfolds it, then starts over. Even Mori hums off-key. The unnamed girl says nothing, but when I pass her in the hallway, I notice her fingers brush the wall in passing, like she's checking to see if it's real. The first door appears in soft pine wood, rounded at the top, carved faintly with patterns that look like rainfall or maybe candle wax. No handle, just a single symbol etched at chest height. But not the club symbol. Something older, uneven, like a child carved it with reverence, not power. When I place my hand against it, it feels cool, not cold, just untouched. A memory no one's dared to step into. Yet, the second door is black lacquered wood, with gold threading across the grain like it's hiding lightning inside. There's no symbol, no groove, just a vertical slit in the center where something thin might slide through. A letter? A name? I don't try anything. Not yet. But I stand there for a long time, and I feel it looking back. Not hostile, just patient. That evening, Sayu walks to the pinewood door. She doesn't knock. She just sits in front of it, cross-legged, hand in her lap, eyes closed, breathing in rhythm with the house. Mori hums something from down the hall, 5 soft tones. And for the first time, Sayu hums back. Just 1 note, but it makes the door shimmer. Only once. House response. Memory attunement detected. Door 1, resonance level, 63%. Door 2, status, locked, key fragment required. Bonus effect. Residents who accept stillness may gain deeper insight. Emotional trait gained. Listening silence. When you wait without asking, the house may answer anyway. That night, I dream of the common room. Empty. Quiet. Except for the sound of footsteps. Soft ones. And laughter. Childlike. Echoing faintly through the walls. The chime rings once. And I see the silhouette of a boy sitting at the piano. He turns just slightly. But before I see his face, I wake. I go to the hallway where the pine door waits. It doesn't glow. Doesn't breathe. Just exists. I sit beside it. No questions. No expectations. And in that moment, I feel something in my chest shift. Not pain. Not joy. Just something I haven't felt since I was a kid. Sitting in an old room waiting for someone who never came home. Emotional key fragment obtained. Source. Kaido's acceptance. This key is not made of metal. It is made of stillness. Of patience. Of being willing to remember. I rest my back against the wall. Close my eyes. And for just a second, I hear the door behind me breathe. In. Out. And then it speaks. Not with sound. Not with words. Just the shape of a feeling. A place inside me whispering. You've always belonged. The sky is overcast when they return. No rain. No wind. Just a heavy gray dome stretched over the city like the sky itself is holding its breath. 3 of them again. Mirai. June. And the tall man in the cloak, who still hasn't given a name, and still hasn't spoken. He watches the house the way people watch ruins. Reverently, cautiously, like he's afraid if he blinks, it might disappear. They don't speak as they enter. No greetings. No instructions. The inspection is already over. This part is something else. We gather in the common room. Everyone, even Mori, who stand in the hallway with her arms folded behind her back like a shrine guardian. Even the unnamed girl, who doesn't sit, but leans in the doorway, hood up, watching like someone ready to vanish at the first sign of falsehood. June sets his tablet down, doesn't open it. Mirai steps forward, looks at me. Just me. Kaido run, she says. You're not trained, not ranked, not licensed. And yet you've stabilized a structure with unmeasured resonance. We've reviewed all data, all rooms, all residents. But we have only one question left. She takes a breath and asks, what is the house of second mornings? The room is still. I look at the others. Sayu, quietly folding the edge of her sleeve. Now arms crossed, jaw tense. Hoshino, unreadable, her teacup untouched. Mori, not blinking. And the unnamed girl, watching me like she already knows what I'll say. Maybe I do too. I speak slowly. Not because I don't know, but because I wanted to hear it right. It's not a shelter, I say. It's not a base, or a checkpoint, or an asset. It's the first place I've ever been where people don't have to justify why they're tired. Mirai doesn't move, so I keep going. It's where Sayu hums without knowing the melody. Where Mori doesn't have to explain herself. Where now finally stop checking the exit signs every morning. Where even the people who won't give you their names still leave their shoes at the door. I look her in the eye. The house doesn't fix people. It holds them. A long silence. June stares down at his tablet. The unnamed man in the cloak closes his eyes. Just once, like something sacred has passed between us. And Mirai, she exhales, then nods. Once. Just once. System notification. Final observation phase. Completed. Sapphire Club verdict. No correction required. Node maintains independent stability. Emotional structure approved for continued operation. Classification assigned. Sanctuary class. This house is no longer considered a risk. It is considered a choice. Mirai places a small silver coin on the table beside the folded crane. Stamped with a symbol on one side, blank on the other. I've never issued one of these, she says quietly. It marks a node, not for its power, but for its presence. She turns to leave, but before she steps out, she stops and says, "Thank you for listening to a world most of us forgot how to hear." They're gone 5 minutes later. No fanfare, no ceremony, just quiet footsteps and a closing gate. But the house feels different, lighter, like something tight in its ribs has finally unclenched. Building bond level up. Tier 4 unlocked. Title gained. Sanctuary. Emotional network activated. Residents may now influence surrounding area. Passive. The still place. Those who stay long enough begin to feel what they've buried. Optional feature unlocked. Bound rooms. You may now create spaces tied to resident emotions or memories. That night, Sayu leaves a candle by the north hall. Mori hums a lullaby in a key no one's ever heard before. Now replaces the name plaque by the door with a new one. The House of Second Mornings. Sanctuary registered. Caretaker. Kaido Rin. And the unnamed girl. She walks into the common room, sits beside me on the couch, and says, "You didn't just protect us. You made us stay." It begins with movement. Not outside. Not through the system. But on the table in the common room, between the folded crane and the mug someone forgot to rinse out. The map shifts. Just slightly. A breeze passes through the room, even though the windows are closed. I turn toward the sound, paper brushing against wood, and see it. The map unfolds itself. Like a breath. Like a story clearing its throat. Everyone else is still asleep. Only the wind chimes sings softly overhead. But I feel in my chest the pull. Not a system alert. Not a mission. Just a gentle need. A place waiting to be found. System notification. Forgotten zone recognized. Azure Hollow. Hidden memory district. Status. Suppressed. Alignment. Emotional layered. Entry possible. 1 key holder required. Activation triggered. Sanctuary node established. Map functionality enabled. I step closer. The streets, inked across the paper, begin to glow faintly. Soft blue veins of light threading between buildings that don't exist anymore. A red marker, the same drawn by hand, now pulses, slow and steady, near the map's edge. The words beneath it, once faint and fading, now appear clear. Site of erasure. Memory anchor number 03. Unresolved. I glance toward the hallway, where the unnamed girl sleeps. I don't wake her. Not yet. But I feel it. The map is hers, even if I'm the one being called. I sit down at the table. Let my fingers hover above the page. Not touching it, just feeling. And the house, as if listening through me, responds. Mission unlocked. Whispers beneath azure. Objective. Locate the emotional anchor tied to the girl's erased past. Entry condition. Must depart as caretaker. Required items. Map of the Hollow. A gift not meant to be given. 1. Echo of silence. Optional companion slots. 1 to 2. Caution. Memory zones do not follow time. A knock breaks the stillness. I look up. The unnamed girl stands at the doorway. Hair messy. Hoodie sleeves pushed up. Eyes clear. You heard it too, she says. I nod. It's awake. She steps forward. Sits across from me. Looks down at the glowing paper like it's a wound that never closed. Then, almost too softly to hear, "That's where they took my name." I wait. Let her say it first. She doesn't. Instead, she reaches in her pocket and pulls out a small, weathered charm. A faded wooden disc with a cracked painted moon on one side. I found this the last time I tried to run. I think it belonged to my brother. She places it on the map, and the red pulses twice. Then stills. Item received. Broken lunar token. Category. Memory object. Effect. Hidden family link. May reveal unknown emotional thread if brought to anchor site. Map status. Ready for departure. The girl meets my eyes. I want to go. You don't have to. I say. We can wait. I've waited long enough. She says it like someone who's not afraid of pain anymore. Just tired of carrying it alone. I nod. Fold the map slowly, gently, and slide it into my coat pocket. Then I say the words that start it. I'll go with you. Mission accepted. Whispers beneath azure. Time until departure. 12 hours. Departure party. Kaido Run. Caretaker. Sanctuary node. Unnamed. Unregistered resident. Echo bound. Optional slot available. Residents may volunteer. Destination. Azure Hollow. Memory district. Entry path. Emotional tether. Warning. Objects in time may shift within the hollow. You will not return unchanged. Later that evening, as I sit in the hallway near the door with the lightning grain that still hasn't opened, Mori passes me. She doesn't stop, doesn't ask, but she presses something into my palm as she walks by. A folded paper square. It's not a crane. It's a shield. And on it, in her elegant, minimalist scrawl, for when remembering hurts. We leave at midnight. Not because the map says to. Not because the system prompts it. But because the house tells us. The air grows still. The floorboards hum low and soft. And the moment feels right. Like the city is asleep just long enough to let us pass through something that shouldn't be opened. Departure confirmed. Travelers. Kaido Ren. Unregistered resident. Route. Emotional anchor. Entry window. 3 to 310. Return window. Unknown. Emotional link established. Azure Hollow awaits. We gather by the front gate. The unnamed girl wears her brother's cracked token around her neck now. The string frayed but firm. Her hood is down. Her hands are steady. I carry the folded map. And the paper shield Mori gave me, tucked into my pocket, near my chest. Just before the hour turns, the others come to see us off. Not all at once. One by one. In their own quiet ways. Sayu is first. She approaches slowly, still wrapped in her cardigan, a ribbon tied loosely around her wrist. She doesn't speak, just slips something into my hand. A silver ring, too small for my fingers. I found it years ago, she says softly. Didn't remember where. Maybe it'll remember for me. I nod. She bows slightly, and walks back inside. Now shows up with a folded notepad and a frown. Don't step on any dimensional cracks, she says. Okay. Or existential ones. Sure. And if you see a version of me there, don't trust her. I wouldn't. She smirks, then shoves the notepad into my hands. Inside, a checklist titled Contingency Plan, Worst Case Emotional. She doesn't say goodbye, just bumps my shoulder on the way past. It says enough. Hoshino brings 2 bottles of tea. Cold, jasmine scented. You'll need something familiar, she says. Then, quieter, and something warm when memory goes cold. She hands both to me, then steps back. But before she turns, she says, if the road asks who you are, tell it you're caretaker. Mori is last. She walks right past me, goes to the unnamed girl, takes her hand, and hums one clear note, a good luck charm sound. Then, without a word, she presses a small stone into the girl's palm. A flat piece of polished black slate with a white thread painted across it. Follow the thread, she murmurs. Then she's gone, back into the house. The girl looks at the stone for a long moment, then slides it into her pocket. We both turn to the gate. It opens not with a creak, but with a pulse. Like the city itself, open a vein. The air beyond shimmers faintly. Buildings blur at the edges. The path ahead isn't made of stone. It's made of memory, twisting through streets that don't exist, lit by lamplight from a time no one remembers. The girl steps forward. I follow. The house behind us doesn't call out, doesn't cling, but I feel it watching. Not with worry, with faith. Azure Hollow. Entry initiated. Emotional layer confirmed. Time flow. Non-linear. Memory anchor. Active. Caretaker status. Observing/stabilizing. Companion status. Threadbound. Welcome to what was erased. As we walk deeper into the forgotten district, the sound of wind fades. The stars blink out, one by one, and the only thing that guides us now is the thread, and the weight of what we're here to remember. The hollow doesn't open with a scream. It opens with silence, the kind that settles behind your ribs, the kind that lingers long after people leave, the kind you find in locked rooms and closed notebooks. We step through the gate and into a street that curves too softly to exist. No signs, no names, just buildings that lean inward, their windows like sleeping eyes, their walls stitched together by faded memory and the scent of old rain. The girl says nothing, but the longer we walk, the straighter her posture becomes, as if her body remembers these paths, even if her mind doesn't. System notice, zone, Azure Hollow, memory district status, fragmented, emotional layer active. Objects may respond to unresolved emotion. Time may loop, stagger, or pause based on internal alignment. Names are not stable. Mission target, memory anchor number 03. Current location, threaded avenue, stabilized. I walk beside her, not ahead, not behind. She doesn't look at me, but I can feel her presence sharpening. Not angry, just ready. And then she stops, at a corner with no sign, facing a wall painted with nothing but flaking white symbols. half faded into brick. She lifts her hand, touches the center, and the symbols pulse blue. Anchor fragment detected. Memory shard appearing. Please stand still. Emotional sync, 63%. Initiating echo playback. A figure steps out of the wall. Not a ghost. Not an illusion. An echo. A girl, 13 maybe. Same hoodie. Smaller shoulders. A laugh too loud for the alley she's in. And a voice. Don't forget the name. It's yours, even if they say it isn't. Then the scene fractures. Shards of sound. Flickering light. Another voice. Male urgent. Run. If they tag you, they'll rewrite everything. And then, static. The wall returns. Blank again. But the girl? She's trembling. I knew this place, she whispers. Her voice sounds older. Or maybe more true. I used to sneak out here with my brother. There was a noodle cart on that corner. She points. Nothing's there. But I nod anyway. And there, she turns. There's a gate. A real one. Painted blue. I carved something into it. She runs ahead. I follow. We stop at a frame of broken wood. Painted blue, just barely. She drops to her knees, brushes dirt, and peeling paint away with trembling fingers. And reveals it. A single name. Half carved. Half erased. Alright. She stares at it. Then whispers. Rin. Resident name restored. Rin. Emotional thread identified. System suppression weakening. Name anchor 1 of 3 complete. Bonus effect. Resident now recognized by the house. She exhales like she's been underwater. Then looks at me. Not scared. Just tired. But something about her eyes is clear now. Sharper. She stands, brushing off her hands. I thought I didn't want it back, she says quietly. But it never left me. No, I say. It was just waiting. We walk on. Down a path that wasn't there a moment ago. The hollow is opening now. One street at a time. With every step she takes toward herself. Map updated. New path unlocked. Location. Silent noodle cart. Status. Echo fluctuating. Objective. Anchor memory 2 of 3. Emotional forecast. Regret. Before we turn the corner, she stops. Glances back at the wall. Where the gate was. Where her name is. I used to hate it, she murmurs. I thought it didn't belong to me anymore. And now. She looks forward again. I think it's mine again. We find a cart 2 streets over. Or rather, what's left of it. The metal is rusted through. The wheels are snapped. The wood is warped by time and rain that never fell. But the smell still lingers. Broth. The kind made from bones and patience. The kind that clings to memory, even when the stall itself is gone. Rin steps forward first. She touches one of the broken legs. And the hollow responds. The cart hums. Just once. And something beneath it shifts. Anchor memory detected. Level 2. Echo object. Sealed tin can. Retrieval possible. Emotional trigger. What wasn't said. Playback pending. Rin drops to her knees and starts pulling aside debris. I crouch beside her, not touching anything, just steadying the broken frame as she moves faster, like her body remembers exactly where it was hidden. And then, she finds it. A dented, sealed soup can. No label. Just the words scratched into the top, in uneven handwriting. Don't forget my voice. She's silent for a moment. Then, it's his handwriting. She lifts the can gently and holds it close. Her hands tremble, but she doesn't drop it. I feel something in the hollow shift again, like the walls are watching. Like this memory matters more than most. Not because of what it contains, but because of when it was hidden. Echo playback beginning. Thread. Sibling. Fragmented. Opening container. Audio begins. Muffled at first. Then clearer. A boy's voice. Hey, I know they're saying names don't matter. But yours does. I don't care what they rewrite. What they tag. What they take. If you forget everything else, remember this. He pauses. You laughed at my soup. Said it was too salty for someone with 0 seasoning skill. But you finished the bowl. So here's your prize. My voice, stupid jokes included. Silence. Then quieter. I'll come back. No matter what they do. Rin doesn't cry, but she sits very still. Eyes closed. Fingers clutching the can to her chest. Breathing slow and deep. Anchor memory 2 of 3 unlocked. Name thread recovered. Rin. Companion anchor identified. Kaito. Emotional stabilizer. Bonus trait unlocked. Echo listener. When you hold memory objects, You may hear the feeling behind the voice. I place my hand gently on the card. It hums again, quieter this time, like it's remembering someone it was built to feed. Rin finally opens her eyes. His voice was always louder than mine, she says. He used to fill every corner of a room, even this one. You remember that? I remember the feeling of space not being scary when he was in it. She stands, looks down the alley, then adds, I used to hum when I was scared. I stopped when he disappeared. You're humming now, I say. She blinks. She hadn't noticed, but she is. A quiet melody. 5 notes. Like Mori's lullabies. Like the house. Threads sync. Sanctuary node. The house hears you from here. Emotional alignment between Rin and Sanctuary Node has increased. Rin may now anchor objects in either realm. The hollow opens again. A path ahead where there was once rubble. Lit not by streetlights, but by small paper lanterns that hang in the air without strings. They glow with memories. Rin turns toward them, then looks back at me. I know where the last anchor is. Where? She points upward, beyond the street, past the skyline, to a crumbling tower at the hollow's edge. We carved something on the rooftop the night before they erased it all. The tower leans a little, not in any physical way, but in the way it feels, like a story that was never finished, tipping forward under the weight of its last chapter. It rises above the hollow, 5 stories of concrete and rebar, half of it eaten away by vines and time, but solid enough to climb. And Rin, she doesn't hesitate, not once. Final anchor location reached. Memory anchor number 03, rooftop watchpoint. Emotional layer active. Caution, anchor access may trigger full emotional replay. Caretaker status required to stabilize environment. The stairwell groans under our feet. Each landing flickers in and out of memory. Some walls are solid, others transparent, hazy. One floor is covered in vines that curl around broken chairs and desks. Another has no ceiling at all, just sky, like the world forgot to finish drawing it. We don't speak much, but I stay close behind her, even if she's no longer afraid. I think I am, not of what we'll find, but of how deep it will cut. At the top of the final flight, we reach a narrow door. Old metal, painted once in bright teal, now flaked and scarred. Rin stops, places her hand on the rusted frame, and whispers, "He told me to wait here." She opens it. The rooftop is cracked, but quiet. The sky overhead is dim, like twilight paused halfway through. Lanterns drift above broken chimneys. And in the far corner of the roof, beneath an old antenna, a carved message, half covered in moss. She runs to it, falls to her knees, starts pulling it clear with her bare hands. Memory anchor reached. Full sync in progress. Emotional field rising. Playback stabilizing. I move beside her, brush the last of the moss away. The carving is simple. 2 names, side by side. Rin, Toma. Beneath them, a scratched-in promise. Meet me here when the sky is empty. Rin's fingers tremble as she reads it. Then, she laughs. A single, breathless, broken laugh. I waited here for 2 days, she says. He never came. Because they took him? I ask gently. She shakes her head. No. Tears fill her eyes, but she doesn't wipe them away. Because they took me. Anchor memory triggered. Full echo unlocked. Wind. Static. A boy's voice, older than before. Rin, I know you'll come here. Even if they rewrite everything. Even if they change your name, your voice, your face. You'll come because I promised. Silence. Then softer. I don't know how to find you after this. But I'll wait. As long as it takes. The sky can empty. The world can turn upside down. I'll still be here. She sobs once, quiet and low, then straightens, and presses both hands to the stone, like anchoring herself to it. Final anchor recovered. Rin complete. Resident status restored. Emotional suppression lifted. Bonus gained. Memory-linked room available in Sanctuary. Passive trait acquired. Return point. Rin may now stabilize hidden threads in any forgotten space. Echo thread complete. Rin turns to me. Her face is raw, but clear. I have a name, she says. I have a brother. And I have a place that still remembers. She looks up at the sky, then back at me. Let's go home. As we descend, the hollow shifts behind us. The buildings begin to fade. Not in destruction. In peace. Like a story finally finished. Not erased, but put to rest. As your hollow exit path opened. Gate available. 027. Return coordinates. Sanctuary node. House of Second Mornings. Emotional link. Strengthened. The hollow remembers. And releases you. We step through the gate together. No fanfare. No light show. Just the feeling of something gentle behind us. Closing its eyes. The gate opens just before dawn. Gray sky. Soft mist. The courtyard is quiet, but not empty. Waiting. The wind chime above the door rings twice. Not an alarm. In recognition. Rin steps through first. Her hood is down. Her shoulders straight. The broken token still hangs around her neck, but she's not clutching it anymore. It's no longer an anchor. Just a reminder. She breathes in the air of the house like it belongs to her now. And the house answers. System notice. Return confirmed. Resident. Rin. Status. Emotionally restored. Alignment. Sanctuary. Room assignment. In progress. Emotional response detected. Triggering passive. Living space bonding. Building room based on. Memory. Current stability. Intent to stay. I watch as the front hall begins to shift. Not dramatically. Not with sound. Just the soft settling of new presence. A door appears. Where there was once only blank wall. Dark wood. Familiar grain. A nameplate already carved into it. Rin. No last name. Not yet. But hers. She walks to it. Touches the handle. Pauses. Then opens it. The inside isn't grand. Not glowing or mystical. Just right. A wide window. Pale curtains. Wooden floors. A small desk with an empty notebook already open. And in the corner, a noodle cart. Miniature. Decorative. Hand-carved. Stone wheels. Steam not real, but faintly warm to the touch. She doesn't cry. Not this time. She smiles. Resident room established. Rin. Type. Reclaimed memory room. Passive effect. Emotional reflection. Visitors who enter may remember something they thought forgotten. Room status. Safe. Welcome home. One by one, the others appear. Saya brings tea. Warm. Fragrant. Set down wordlessly on the windowsill. Now lingers in the doorway. Doesn't enter, but nods once. A kind of approval that means, you're real now. Hoshino leaves a small folded towel and a bar of soap on the desk. Her way of saying, you belong in the rhythm of this place. Mori doesn't come to the room, but from the stairwell, her humming shifts. 3 soft notes. Then a pause. Then 2 more. A pattern that sounds like welcome back. I'm the last to enter. Rin looks up from where she's sitting on the edge of her bed. This place is strange, she says. Yeah. It remembered me better than I did. That's kind of what it does. She reaches into her pocket. Pulls out the paper shield Mori gave me before we left. I found this in your coat. I blink. You took it. I borrowed it, she says. Just in case remembering hurt more than I thought it would. Did it? She turns the shield in her fingers. Then sets it on the desk beside the notebook. A little, she says. But it doesn't anymore. System event complete. Thread reintegrated. Rin has been fully recognized by the house. New narrative path. Open. Optional mission chain unlocked. Find Toma. Bonus trait. Name keeper. Rin can now assist in restoring lost identities tied to echo objects or erased places. That evening, she joins us at the common table. Sits where she never sat before. Pours tea for someone else. And when Mori hums a familiar tune, Rin hums with her. Not as a copy, not as an echo, but as a voice that's finally her own. In the hallway, her door glows faintly. Warm light under the frame. Not a signal, not a warning. Just the house saying, in its own quiet language, she's home. It opens just after 3 a.m. Not with noise, not with a pulse or flash or alarm. Just the quiet sound of latch and hinge, creaking gently into the dark hallway. I wake not from a dream, but from stillness. The kind of silence that feels like a hand on your shoulder before it speaks. The hallway glows dimly. A familiar flicker dances under Sayu's door. But this time, it isn't flickering. It's steady, and the door isn't locked. It's ajar. I step into the hallway barefoot. The floor is cool. The chime doesn't ring. Everyone else is still asleep. Only the house is awake. Only her door is open. And Sayu, she's standing in the middle of the room, facing the echo door, hands folded in front of her. Her cardigan hangs loosely from her shoulders. Her voice, when she speaks, is barely more than breath. It's ready. Echo door status. Open. Resident. Sayu. Emotional thread. Grief held too long. This door leads into a personal memory. Caretaker may accompany if invited. Recommended. Emotional anchor present. Warning. What you see may not want to be seen. I want you to come with me, she says. I nod. No hesitation. Not because I'm brave, but because I've seen what it looks like when someone goes in alone. Rin. Myself. Now Sayu. She's not just letting me see. She's asking me to witness. The echo door hums softly. The wood is warm under my palm. When we step through, it doesn't feel like crossing a threshold. It feels like falling into a memory without resistance. We land on stone. Gray. Smooth. A platform suspended in a fog that has no floor and no ceiling. The only thing ahead of us is a bench. Wooden. Worn. And on it, two girls. One is Sayu. The other? Not a stranger, but not quite her. They sit side by side, silent, waiting for something. Sayu grips my sleeve. This is the day I stop talking. The fog shifts. Shapes form in the distance. A hospital bed. A hand slipping out of another. A soundless scream. A girl. Young. Small. Refusing to speak, even as people begged her to. Sayu turns her face into my shoulder. I said goodbye too late. Echo pulse. High intensity. Anchor emotion. Mute grief. Memory fixation. If I say it out loud, it will become real. Caretaker presence stabilizing. Passive activated. Echo bridge. You may guide, but not force. I don't speak. I don't soothe. I sit on the bench beside the two Sayus, past and present, and I listen. To the wind. To the ache. To the silence that says more than anything ever could. Eventually, the younger Sayu turns. Looks at the older one. Then whispers, shakily. It's okay to miss her. Sayu swallows. Nods. Tears spill, but she doesn't break. Instead, she speaks. To her younger self. To me. To the house. She was my sister. She made ugly bracelets from yarn and refused to let me take them off. She called me Moonbug because I had glow-in-the-dark stickers on my ceiling. She forgot to say goodbye, but I won't forget her. Echo memory complete. Thread released. Personal grief, Sayu. Trait unlocked. Voice returned. Sayu can now help others enter their own memories, gently guiding from within. Echo door permanently open. Room trait gained. Restorative silence. Bonus gained. Memory bracelet. Echo object. We return to the hallway. Her door doesn't close. It glows faintly, steady. Sayu takes a deep breath, wipes her eyes with the sleeve of her cardigan, and smiles. Small, but real. Thank you, she says. And this time, her voice doesn't crack. Later that morning, Hoshino finds a bracelet made of old red yarn on the common room table. No one knows where it came from. Sayu picks it up, ties it around her wrist. Doesn't say a word. But when Mori hums in the kitchen, Sayu hums back. A soft, steady note. Whole. It happens just after sunset. The wind chime rings once. Then again. Then stops. Not because the wind is gone, but because something else is there. I step out into the hallway. Nao is already at the window, overlooking the courtyard. Hoshino stands beside her, arms folded, her teacup untouched. Sayu sits on the stairwell halfway down, like she heard it coming before any of us did. Mori? She's still listening, but not humming, which is how I know this is different. And Rin? She's standing by the front door, not saying a word, but her hand is on the doorknob, like she's waiting for a signal. System notice. External presence detected. Identity, unknown. System link, none. Authority level, not applicable. Emotional output, suppressed. House response, paused. Decision pending. I move to the front steps. And there, beyond the gate, stands a boy. Maybe 18, maybe 20. Plain clothes. No coat. No visible injuries. No fear in his eyes, but no expectation either. He looks like someone who's been turned away before. So many times, it stopped hurting. Now it's just routine. He doesn't speak. He doesn't wave. He just stands there, waiting. I turn to the house, to the door, to the wind chime. No response. So I say, quietly, he's not asking, but he's still hoping. The system doesn't prompt me. The walls don't shift. Even the echo doors are silent. But I feel it. A low hum beneath the wood. A breath beneath the stone. The house is thinking. And then, the gate unlatches. House response. Conditional entry granted. Reason. Sanctuary principle. Presence without demand. The visitor may enter the threshold. Full access pending emotional recognition. Passive activated. Stillness watch. The house will listen to what is not said. Time here will pass normally. But for the visitor, only if he stays. The gate creaks open. The boy looks surprised. Only a little. But his breath catches, just once, like he hadn't realized he'd been holding it. He steps forward. Not quickly. Not nervously. Just carefully. He doesn't speak as he walks past me. But he bows. Not deep, but enough. Then steps into the courtyard. He sits by the stone planter near the wall. Not inside the house. Not asking to be let in further. Just there. Present. Breathing. Like he's afraid of asking for too much. Or maybe, like he's trying to remember what enough even feels like. Later that night, Sayu brings out a cup of warm tea. Sets it beside him. She doesn't speak either. But she hums. One soft note. Then walks away. He stares at the cup. Then, slowly, picks it up. Drinks. Doesn't smile. But something in his shoulder softens. Passive response detected. Visitor emotion. Numb curiosity. House recognition. Pending. Memory object detected. Unbound. Unknown origin. This presence may carry an echo. We don't know who he is. We don't know what he's lost. But the house didn't reject him. It let him breathe. And in this place, that's the beginning. It's nearly 2 a.m. The courtyard is silent. The boy hasn't moved in hours. Still sitting near the edge of the garden bed, knees pulled up, head resting against the base of the old stone lantern. He hasn't asked to come inside. Hasn't spoken. Just rests. Breathing slow. Not asleep. But not entirely awake either. Like someone drifting at sea. Not sure if the shore is real yet. I don't wake the others. There's nothing to explain. Nothing urgent to solve. The house doesn't feel threatened. It feels still. Watching. Like it's waiting to see what the boy will do. Or maybe, what it can do for him. At 2:17 a.m., the door opens. By itself. No wind. No hand. Just the soft creak of old wood opening to the night. Something folds outward from the threshold. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just a blanket. Plain gray. Thick. Still warm from wherever it came from inside. It settles gently beside him. Not on him. Just beside. Like an invitation with no pressure. House response. Gesture given. Target. Unregistered presence. Type. Passive welcome. Effect. +1 emotional coherence. Note. The house is listening to what silence wants. The boy opens his eyes. Not startled. Just quiet. He sees the blanket. Stares at it for a while. Then, with slow hands, pulls it over his shoulders. Not fully. Just enough to cover the parts that stopped being warm long ago. And then, for the first time since he arrived, he sleeps. I watch from the stairwell window. Not intervening. Just witnessing. Because sometimes, healing starts in the smallest places. Not words. Not revelations. Just the moment someone realizes they're allowed to be warm again. System notice. Temporary status assigned. Visitor classification. Sheltered. Emotional signature. Dormant recovery. Bonus triggered. Quiet bond. If the visitor remains 3 days, the house may choose to remember for him. The next morning, Hoshino finds the mug still warm on the edge of the planter. She refills it without comment. Sayu opens the windows to let sunlight into the front room. Now adds an extra spoon to the utensil drawer without saying why. And Mori hums a low, steady note from the second floor. Soft. Welcoming. Not yet asking questions. Just holding the air steady. The boy wakes afternoon. Still wrapped in the blanket. He doesn't try to explain, but he walks up the steps. Doesn't cross the door. Just places one hand on the frame. And whispers, just loud enough for the house to hear. Thank you. It starts when the boy sits by the window. The same place Sai used to hide her grief. The same ledge Mori once left a folded note. He doesn't speak. Still hasn't. Even after sleeping under the stars and waking with tea by his side. But he sits there now, cross-legged, blanket draped over his shoulders like a shield. And from his coat pocket, something falls. Soft sound. Metal against wood. A pendant. Small. Worn. Threaded through a broken chain. The house doesn't hum. Doesn't shift, but I feel it notice. I reach down and pick it up. The pendant is shaped like a coin, but lighter. Plastic maybe, tarnished gold, etched with faint lines around the edge. And across the back, to Toma, find your way back. The moment I read it, the air shifts, like the hallway holds its breath. The wind chime above the door rings once, and then twice more. Not randomly, in rhythm. And somewhere behind me, I hear Rin drop her cup. System detection, echo name found. Object, gold token pendant. Assigned identity, Toma. Recognition source, resident, Rin. Connection detected, shared memory thread. Status, incomplete. Emotional surge, disbelief/grasping hope. Warning, do not force recognition. I turn around slowly. Rin stands in the hallway, staring at the pendant in my hand. Eyes wide, hands trembling. She doesn't speak at first, just steps closer, one pace at a time. And when she reaches me, she doesn't take the pendant. She just says, "Where did you find that name?" I gestured gently toward the boy by the window, still sitting, still silent. He doesn't meet her gaze, but his shoulders stiffen, not fearfully, just like he heard her, like something in her voice reached a place inside him he didn't know was listening. Rin kneels beside him, reaches out, slow and steady, and places one hand on his arm. "Toma," she whispers. No reply, just a long, sharp silence. Then his hand twitches, fingers brushing the blanket, and he says, so softly I almost don't hear it, "Moon Tower." Rin gasps, one sharp breath, and covers her mouth with both hands. Because only two people ever called it that. Because the memory was hers. And now somehow, it's his too. Echo confirmation. Toma recognized. Status, suppressed identity. Emotional layers, fragmented. Thread match, Rin. Bond type, sibling. Echo room, unformed. Option available. Begin recovery path. Toma, once forgotten. He blinks slowly, still dazed, still not whole. But he lifts his head now, and meets her eyes. "Do I know you?" he asks. Rin nods, tears in her throat, but not falling. "You used to call me Trouble Bug," she says, "even when I wasn't." He lets out a small sound, not quite a laugh, not quite a sob. "I remember that," he says, "but I don't remember me." Rin wraps the blanket tighter around his shoulders, then rests her forehead lightly against his. "It's okay," she whispers. "You don't have to come back all at once." Mission unlocked. Memory room. Toma. Condition. Co-anchor required. Emotional stability needed. 52%. Caretaker role. Witness. Rin's role. Echo guide. Objective. Restore shared memory fragments through emotional landmarks. Status. Dormant. Waiting for Toma to ask. That night, the house doesn't sleep. Not because it's restless. Because it's waiting. For a name. For a door. For a brother. It happens in the kitchen. Late afternoon. Sunlight trickles through the open window in long gold slants, hitting the tile, just so. Hoshino's out tending the herb trays. Now is upstairs, muttering about paperwork and emotional inventory sheets. Only Rin, Toma, and I are here. Or, more accurately, Rin is cooking. Toma is watching. And I'm present. Because presence is all the house really ever asks for. She stirs the pot slowly, one hand on her hip, the other guiding a wooden spoon through soft circles. The scent in the air is warm and rich, red bean and rice, with a faint crisp edge. And just as the first bubbles break the surface, Toma flinches. Not visibly, not loudly, but enough. His eyes widen. His breath catches. He grips the counter with both hands like the air suddenly weighs more. Echo trigger detected. Memory type. Sensory. Anchor. Smell. Emotional pulse. Warmth/loss/safety. Playback fragment. Available. Rin notices it too. She doesn't speak. Just turns the flame lower. Lets the silence carry the moment. Toma leans in slightly. Nostrils flaring. Eyes glassy. Then hoarse. "This used to be something, didn't it?" Rin nods. "Yeah." She ladles a bit into a small chipped bowl. Slides it across the counter. Toma stares at it. Then, very carefully, takes a bite. The spoon clicks softly against the bowl's rim. He doesn't say anything for several seconds. Just chews. Swallows. Then blinks. And smiles. Not a full one. Not bright, but real. And almost frightened. We used to burn it on purpose, he says softly. Because we like the crisp at the bottom. Rin's breath catches. She reaches over. Places her hand lightly on his wrist. We called it treasure rice, she whispers. Because no one else liked it. He lets out a soft sound. Almost a laugh. Then, we had a ritual, didn't we? Whoever scraped the last bite got to skip doing the dishes. Memory fragment recovered. Toma. Title. Treasure rice. Type. Sensory memory. Anchor object. Bowl of red bean soup burnt. Trait unlocked. Scent echo. When presented with familiar smells, Toma may regain tethered memories. Memory thread progress. 1 of 5. Status. Emotional sync strengthened. He stares down at the bowl like it's holy. And maybe it is. Not because it's food, but because it's the first thing in days, maybe years, that's felt true. Later, we sit in the courtyard. Toma says little, but the way he sits beside Rin is different now. Not tentative, not braced, just near, like part of him remembers that nearness was once safe. I still don't remember my name, he says. That's okay, Rin replies. I remember yours. He nods. Then, after a long pause, I think I remember your laugh too. Rin smiles. Doesn't test him. Doesn't ask. Just lets him hold that sliver of memory, like it's a seed still sprouting. That night, the house adds a small object to the kitchen shelf. No one sees it appear, but it's there by morning. A burnt rice ladle, lacquered with wear, placed gently beside the teacups. There's no label, but we know what it is. The house remembers too.